Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Everybody, it is the end of the year predictions podcast. I'm not even going to waste any time because I think I have 16 psychics. We're going to jump right in. As you know, each psychic gets 7 minutes. I think a couple ran over. When they were on a roll, I let them go and you'll hear the bell ding. Please follow these people. Book readings. Have a great time. All my stuff will be at the end. Here we go. Nick Nicholas is here. Welcome to the show. This is your first one, isn't it?
Yes, this is my first one. I kind of shy away from things that are kind of big and global, but I'm going to give it a shot. I got kind of two. One leads to the other, I think.
All right, hit us with it.
All right, my prediction. This is kind of I don't know if it's being hypersensitive to my environment as much as it might be a psychic prediction, but I have a feeling that Joe Biden's going to pardon President Trump before he leaves office.
Oh, good.
That's my prediction. That's my prediction. Now, my Tibetan friends, spiritual friends, are really, really up. They got their hackles up, so to speak, about nuclear problems with weaponry and a possible strike before 2030. But that's out there a little bit.
Okay.
So, my prediction is that Biden pardons Trump. And it sets a schism off in the Democratic Party that's going to end up being good for the party and potentially create a third party system, ultimately. But yeah, I think it'll be a shakeup, and we'll see how down the center everybody's going to. It really is, and then I think that I think how we move forward with voting in general and all of that is going to change based on that move that Biden's going to make.
Okay.
I think he can't. That's it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I sat with it, and that's kind of just what's been popping in.
I love that. I'm going to say, other than Trump getting pardoned, I love the whole thing going. It's great. All right. What else you got?
Well, that's kind of like I was on the big focus kind of thing. I haven't really been looking at I think how I try to apply this is in sports, and I call it live magic. I try to make predictions based on football plays or not scores or numbers so much, but action, like how things flow. Mm-hmm. So my prediction models are really short-sighted. I use cards for it. And I'm pretty decent with that, but I think that's just me being able to open up and see what's going on. But intuitively and instinctually, and with politics, I'm pretty accurate. And I think that I'm going to see a big shakeup before Trump takes office. But other than that, I have a feeling that I'm getting a feeling that the transgender thing is going to take a swing in a weird direction based on people making claims about their sexual identity, and it's shaking up numbers and statistics and putting carrots by things, asterisks by a lot of stuff.
Wait a minute. I don't understand that one. So in other words, people are going to say, I really am transgender. I just didn't tell anyone.
In retro, and it's going to shake things up. It'll shake up how people get paid. It'll shake up how people have the rights to restitutions, and it'll shake up whether or not we've already had a female president.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right? Because based on the numbers alone, we probably already have had one.
Oh, interesting. All right, Nick, these are great. Keep going. Anything else?
I just spitball with this kind of thing, but I think that people are going to be able to channel if they want to. As far as like the next spiritual thing, moving out of 3D, I think 3D reality is crumbling, and I think even squares see it. Mm-hmm. So the next thing is wide open, and so when I get a wide open view, I think it really throws the fates into a frizzy, or a tizzy, because when systems start to break down, fate seems to break down in some way, or destiny of how things are going to end up. Mm-hmm. When things start to dissolve, I think we have a lot of free play there. So I don't know if that means anything other than, kind of everybody's leveling up a little bit, even if they don't want to, and even if they're not trying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also feel like there's a lot of negative beings that are going to jump on if given the chance.
Yeah, I think the best way to neutralize negative beings is not to come full throttle with positive. I don't know. There needs to be spiritual judo involved when it comes to negative energy. I feel.
Yeah, I think
flying into duality. I don't think is the answer when combating about anything really.
No, but anyways, that prediction is going to be in mind, which are at the end. But
cool.
Excellent. Anything else, Nick?
No, not really. Not really. Outside of personal stuff, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to just like hold my seat and see how things play out until after January. But
okay, great. And then that is wonderful. You're under your 7 minutes because this podcast is going to be like 3 hours long. So I appreciate that. Do you want people to follow you, email you, anything? You call it.
Yeah, I read tarot cards and I do some trance mediumship. I also do some shamanic journey work, stuff like that. And I can teach various things that have to do with Tibetan or Vajrayana Buddhism in particular. But I'm generally a Nick Morey 33 on all of on Instagram. So if you want to hit me up, Nick Morey 33 on Instagram.
Okay, and can you just spell? Is it NIC and Morey?
NICK MORI 33 on Instagram.
Got it. Okay, that's great, Nick. Thank you so much.
Right.
Okay,
no problem. I'll talk to you in the near future. I predict that.
Paul Jasek, who always gives us the best theme for the year. Paul, how are you?
I'm doing well, Karen. How are you?
Good. Okay, I got to fix my people. If the sound is funky, I'm working on it. Okay, how is that? All right, so Paul, tell me what's happening. What do you have for 2025?
2025, the theme for this year, it's very important, is what's your choice? What's your choice? We are really standing in a very clear place of is you is or is you ain't. There's no more time in the screw around room. Everyone's going to be called to what's your choice, because we were given the power of choice. Even the angels don't have the power of choice. They're just messengers. They can't go to the Red Onion, have a steak and a sidecar. I mean, so what's your choice? Because the universe, which is miraculous, has autocorrect. So no matter how badly you screw up, they'll adjust it, but it's back to your power of choice. So that's the theme. What's your choice?
Awesome. I love the autocorrect. Okay. All right. Keep going. What do you see happening?
So within these dramatic changes, and people have done hard time, and I have a dear friend of mine, a mentor, who said, wait, why are you complaining? Is he in your kitchen? I said, no, but I mean, she goes, stay in your own backyard. You have enough for you to worry about. Let the country handle it. Because I was spending a lot of time in Washington, D.C., and I live in Long Beach. I'm like, what are you saying? No, but my entire energy was all about that. So as I brought that back, what happened, my choice was I'm choosing to live my best life. I can't control that outside world.
Right.
The hula hoop of energy is what I'm responsible for. And when I do that, my life in the past year has made dramatic changes. I was facing eviction. My car got stolen. I couldn't get a job to save my soul. Here I stand a year later practicing these principles. I had a commission actually at work. I'm now the first officer of the Queen Mary.
Oh, that's great.
So I have multiple streams of income. My stand-up took off. I'm teaching. My tarot has taken off.
Great.
Now it's adjusting my schedule. And so now I'm so happy about my life just in the box it came in. And I'm also happy about the past. It taught me what my priorities were. So that's where it's really let go or be dragged. And then the third is focus on yourself. Now, that's not self-obsession, because that's just sloppy and unpleasant, but self-care. My self-care has changed because I'm older. I'm in my 60s. It's different than when I was in my 20s. What is my new question? Because if you want to change your life, check the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So my new question is, how can I be more comfortable? And you know what it is? It's a big woolly sweater. I've been shopping for gloves because now at this age, my hands get cold. They never used to, but there's been a change, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I have a similar at the end with mine. So yes, I agree totally. Keep going, Paul.
Well, that's so as we all walk into 2025, this energy, we had a big change. I'm not an astrologer, but Lord knows I've worked with enough of them. Pluto has gone into Aquarius. And what that means, he's the slowest moving way out there for the next 20 years. Pluto is the planet of birth, death, and rebirth. So what's your rebirth? Certainly there's physical death. I'll drop this blood bag one day once I'm finished with it, but I will continue. So how can I be more comfortable? And how can I be of service when I'm taken care of? So the idea of self-care and self-love, once I'm balanced, I'm ready for anything. But if I, jet out of bed, don't take a shower, race, I misbutton my shirt, I'm a wreck. Well, it's because I didn't take preparation. Now, as a dancer, I know preparation for the turn makes it more lovely. So allow yourself the preparation and then sally forth. And, I throw all of my long hair, please, I'm bald, over my shoulder and I'm out into the day.
Wow, absolutely. So also, do you see anything for the country?
I do. We are going to go through this rebirth. All will be revealed, meaning, people went to bed for a week after the election, and I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also the past. If you would like to change the past, watch the future. So this future is going, I'm not lying, it's going to be a little rocky for sure. But it comes back to your power choice. Are you willing to stand up for your beliefs? That it's going to come down to, we were all very complacent because, and I'll blame technology, we were all watching from the sidelines, but how many people were in it? So you may need to get in it if you'd like to see, especially for the nation. Then here's what's the good news. I was talking to a congressional scholar. She said, you know what? The Constitution has been through worse. The Constitution will stand.
Good.
And that was such good news for me. She said, Andrew Jackson was a complete jerk, having I don't know if this is true, but she said close to Klan meetings in the White House, and we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
So the Constitution stands strong. Do you? There's a great difference between being true to who you are and having good manners. Many times now, and I love it because I'm a cranky old man, I just get up and leave when the conversation goes in a different direction. I'm like, oh, no, thanks.
You and I are so aligned this year. Okay, keep going. Yeah,
I know, but don't you? I was sitting with people and it started to go in a different direction. I said, will you excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy next to me goes, yeah. I got in my car and went home. There was no reason for me to spend, because I would sit there and quietly seethe. And hopefully you noticed that I was uncomfortable. Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, are we aligned? Also, I'm just going to say this. Some people may disagree. Paul may disagree. It is okay to block and unfriend people. It is okay. That is not about we're never going to get along or anything, but you need to be comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and that's family and friends. There are people that were just at loggerheads. I had a woman call me out on social media going, I'm allowed to have my feelings and I'm allowed to be happy about what's happened. And, you're being, cranky and a sore loser. Block.
Mm-hmm. Then you be that on your page. You be happy on your page.
You run over there and do that.
Yeah.
And if you feel guilty, so now she's going, those libs. Oh, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But she has to do that. I just don't have to watch.
Yeah. It all has to crumble before.
You bet.
Yeah. So, all right. Look at where we are. Bing.
Oh, there it is.
You got anything else, Paul? You got a minute.
Well, here's the deal. I am sending good wishes. I now include in my morning meditation. Really, I wrap the planet in a comforter of love. Somebody asked me about, what's going on in the Middle East. And I said, it's too big for me. Mm-hmm. I'm just wishing peace for everyone, even in people's homes.
Yeah.
And so I do my Christmas or my holiday gift to everybody is I am sending love to you, whether you like it or not.
All right. Awesome. All right, Paul, tell everyone where to find you.
You can find me at Facebook at Paul Jasek. I also have Paul Jasek Tarot Reader. I'd love to read for you because really there's such good news coming up. We can share it.
Jasek.
That's it.
That is it. All right. Go check out Paul. Follow him on Facebook. And if you go by the Queen Mary, tell him you know people there. And ask
Indeed.
for Paul.
Come see me.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Darren. Bye.
Camille Elizabeth is here. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. I can't believe it's already predictions time.
I know. And your episode is also coming out. I think you're right in January. I think you're right in January or February. So we can never get enough of you, my darling. All right. What do you have for us for 2025?
All right. Well, I decided that I was going to take the approach inspirational mediumship for the collective. I figured everybody's going to be pulling cards and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I was like, let me do the thing that I do best, which is bringing through messages, inspired messages from spirit. So I blended with all of the guides and angels and spirit of the folks who would be listening to this to bring through the following message that I hope helps everybody for 2025. So yeah, I just asked spirit, what would be most helpful for the collective to know for 2025? And they gave me this message. They said, have you grown weary of your own fear? Are you tired of the burden of worry? Those of you with the ability and means to navigate treacherous lands are the most worried when those who have already known suffering are in their trenches preparing. What good comes of despair? What actions do you take when you witness the despair of others? Do you turn away? Do you run towards it? Or do you stand there with curiosity? And then this next part of the message I love because they start using lots of metaphors. And then they say, what is your anchor in times like this? When there's massive ups and downs emotionally, what do you secure your boat to? Whatever it is should be immovable. Whatever it is should be unshakable. Even if you are huddled, shivering below deck on your boat and it's being tossed this way and that way, deep in your heart, you would know that there is no need to fear because your boat is securely anchored. And even as food and grain and supplies fall off of the shelves, and even as you start to get seasick, still, deep down in your heart, you would know that you're securely anchored. Find peace. Peace will be the most valuable resource going forward. On this voyage where we're going, peace is like buried treasure on a desert island. And as you're searching for this treasure, beware of counterfeits. You'll be presented many dummy prizes along the way. In fact, you may find a chest filled with apathy and accidentally mistake it for peace. You may find another chest filled with ambivalence and too be fooled even by that. Or you may even get tired and think it best to just bury your head in the sand instead of looking for that treasure. If you're weary, take a break from begging. If you're confused, seek clarity from spirit. And if you're lonely on your journey, find a few shipmates. And if you truly don't know where to look for that treasure, look within. And that was the end of the message, that came through. And then afterwards, I decided to pull just one card from my favorite Oracle deck, the Journey deck. And I just said, what's the key theme for 2025? And of course, the card that came out was change. So lots of change coming up this year. Yeah.
I think I kind of was. There was a minute there when I giggled because I love the message when they were talking about the grain. Of course, I was reading deeper into it, but I was like, "Oh, it sounds like it's about to get rough."
Yes, there's going to be, I definitely took it to mean there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of shifts, but to not dig into fear. That was a big thing early on. I said, don't dig into fear. Just think about how are you going to approach this? How are you going to also help your neighbors, right? It, talked about when you see other people suffering in despair, how do you approach that? But ultimately, this is about we need to find something unshakable, this peace within. And I'm sure I cannot wait to listen to this episode when it comes out because I can't wait to hear the specific things that other people are picking up on. But for me, it was it's going to be a little tumultuous, but we got it. We'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that is the big one. I think we have to crash and burn. And I've been saying that for 3 years and it's never happened. And maybe I'm wrong, which would be great. But I think we've pushed this glass to the edge of the table long enough.
Yes. I agree. This is going to be the year of the light worker. That's the one thing that's coming in right now. Just as we're talking, this is going to be the year of the light worker. We need to anchor as much light source goodness, without bypassing, like this said, without bypassing, but really facing this darkness, but doing it in such a way that we're bringing more light and peace.
Yeah, I think you're the third or fourth that I've taped so far. And that is the theme. The theme is calm down. Oh, that's excellent, my dear. All right, you're even early. So, where can everyone find you? Tell us what you're offering. Go ahead and put your plug out there.
Absolutely. So quantumcanvasenergyhealing.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Camille is Quantum if you want some really mind-blowing quantum energy healing sessions and just also information on just what all of that means. I have some great pre-recorded activations in my library if you want stuff that you can just dig into right away. And then also highlyspiritualperson.com. That's where you can just go down all kinds of crazy spiritual rabbit holes. I have great conversations with really cool woo-woo people. I have blog posts and all kinds of information on spirituality.
Yes. And you know your stuff, my friend. All right, Camille, good to have you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Elizabeth Murden is here.
Yes.
Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, who comes, I love when we do the lives and you come in and we all do our readings in the Patreon. Just a little ad to join the Patreon.
Very fun.
And you are always phenomenal. So you can hop into the Patreon and maybe you'll get lucky enough to have a little reading from Elizabeth.
Yes, that would be fun.
All right, darling.
Okay.
Hit it. What you got?
Okay, well, I did a reading with the Illuminated Earth Tarot, which is how I speak to the land and the earth spirits. And I did one with my ancestor deck. And they pretty much have the same sense of urgency in both. Next year, and this goes in alignment with the tropical transit of Pluto and Aquarius, but also the nodes moving next year into Pisces and Virgo. So these are huge energetic shifts, which I'm sure everybody's aware of. It is about personal empowerment. Yes, we know that, but there's a deeper level there that is energetic sovereignty. And next year, it is critical that people start taking their energy back, taking their energetic sovereignty back. And both my ancestors and the spirit guides said that the swiftest and most certain way to do that is to unentangle from the artificial calendar that has captured the entire world, that has been in place since the Roman emperors and the people in the Vatican created it. It's not a real calendar. It has taken us out of sync with the natural cycles of the earth. Think about how many times we have shoved leap years into the calendar. The calendar dates are arbitrary at this point. They're not real. It's fake. All the celebrations are fake. It's spectacle.
You know, I just have to say really quick, that's very interesting in that everyone feels out of sync now. Everyone goes, something's wrong and I don't know what it is.
That's what it is. So the fastest way to do that is to create your own private little rituals. They don't have to be elaborate. They don't have to be on any specific date. The things that they said that were most important were the cycles of the year, the seasons. Yes, it can be fun to celebrate the solstices and equinoxes as they are designated on the calendar with your coven or with your friends. Do another ritual after that privately when you think nature is telling you that it's spring or fall or winter. We've all had that experience where we walk out there and go, today feels like fall, not last week when the calendar said it was fall. That's a signal. That's a message. That's communication from the earth. So you need to sync up. People need to sync up with the natural cycles as they are expressed to them through nature, through their senses, through their body. So that's one. The other really, really important one that came through is, and this, I'm going to try to quote this as I wrote it. Any Saturday is suitable for celebrating the memory of anyone that has died in any way. Any Saturday. This goes for loved ones. It goes for friends. It goes for people in history that you admired. It goes for people that died in natural disasters or tragedies. The most obvious example that was used is 9/11. Avoid the spectacle of participating in those days of mourning. Create your own. Any Saturday, any time during the year, light a candle, honor those dead. That is energetic sovereignty. That is unhooking from the calendar and creating your own ritual apart from the artificial calendar. So these were things that they were very, very strict about. Saturday is always a good day to celebrate the passing of a loved one. It doesn't have to be repeated in the same Saturday every year, just any Saturday.
Okay.
It's the act of taking your time, making your intention, and making that offering or lighting that candle in tribute. That is energetic sovereignty. It is more potent, it has impact, and it unhooks you further. It disentangles you further from the artificial calendar. The calendar, as we know it, is a control mechanism. It's a capture. From what I read, and people should research this, it was originally created to control the populace. The months are named for, I think, Roman emperors and popes. That should tell you everything you need to know. So it is, but it's an artificial calendar at this point. It's not real. The dates are ridiculous.
Well, I can't tell you how off people feel. So this nails it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really about creating rituals of sovereignty. Anytime you do a ritual separately from what the calendar says it is, you are taking your power back from that control mechanism, and you are creating your own sacred calendar of remembrance. And knowing that you can honor your dead on any Saturday is a big freedom. You don't have to do it on the day that they tell you need to. You can remember the victims of a natural disaster any time of the year that you want on any Saturday. Saturday is Saturn. He's the ruler of time, the ruler of the dead.
Wow.
That's what you can do. So that's the big thing is the sovereignty thing. And it's the more you sync up with your own personal calendar, with the natural cycles, you'll feel less and less compelled, less and less energetically pulled by Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, And now we have so many things, like there are some really good calendar dates that were created. National Day of Trans Remembrance. Great. That celebrated on that day if you want. But how about if you wake up one morning and you see springtime and you think, what a beautiful sight this renewal, this rejuvenation is. I think today I'm going to do a small ritual in honor of my trans friends and my trans allies. I think I'm going to do that. That is sovereignty. That is sacred calendar work.
That's beautiful.
And so that was the big thing. And I tried to ask them about world events. They don't care. They're like, that doesn't matter. This is about personal sovereignty. This is about people disconnecting from the largest control mechanism on the planet.
Which says everything about what's going to happen internationally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a control mechanism. It's captured everybody, and everybody follows in a herd, and it's just,
No, you're exactly right on that, because I feel like this is what I feel like people are, they believe what they are told.
Yeah.
And there's no question, and there's no changing it. And this is just an example, and I don't mean to make it political, but they were always saying, Kamala does word salad. She doesn't make any sense. And that was very, very true. By the end of the campaign, she had her stuff together. She was making perfect sense. She was doing everything she should have, but people still can't break from, they heard that she's all nonsense and word salad. Like there's no room to move once they've been told that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all, and there's all the little subsections. There's the politics, there's the family, there's the education system, but according to my spirits, my ancestors, the largest mechanism is the calendar. If you are in the Northern Hemisphere and you go to Australia to live, your Christmas is in July and your barbecues that you want to have in July are in the snow. I mean, this is just an example. Like they have completely reversed seasons because the calendar is artificial. And that was the exact word that they stressed. It's artificial. It's an artificial calendar.
Well, it's especially after, everyone feels like they're in a rush. That's what I
Yeah.
feel like in time.
Mhm.
And we're like, can you believe it's December already? Yeah. I'm like, what? What is going on?
It's winter. Yeah. And so when people start to create those millions of tiny acts of sovereignty, they will start to sync up naturally, and their energy, disengages from the artificial calendar, and they start to connect more with nature, and the nature becomes really loud
Yes.
to them. And it becomes special. Like, you can do your rituals any time of the year. If you want to honor the dead, there's always another Saturday coming.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Tell
Yeah.
everyone where to find you, or if they can get a reading from you, or if
Well,
they should just go to
right
the
now,
Patreon.
everything's on hold because I have to get my website redone and everything. So if they want a reading from me, they should join your Patreon.
Yay!
And come to the free reading night once a month, because
Yes.
I'm more than happy.
Yes, and you can join the Patreon for free and show up and meet Elizabeth in person. And
Exactly.
a bunch of
Yeah.
people.
So that's what I'm doing right now. In 2025, that might change, and then I'll let everybody know. But for now, I'm just kind of doing my thing.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, my friend. All right. Alex Glenn is here. Alex, in my phone, you are Alex Shadowwork Glenn. Glenn.
What an
Glenn.
honor. I love it.
We missed you last year. We didn't get to connect. So I'm so happy you're here. I'm going to start the timer. Tell me what you got for us.
Okay, I'm just going to dive in really quick. So the first thing I'm seeing is like a large crack or like crevasse, like a gorge or like a gouge in solid material. And I want to say like it's ice, it's earth, it's something. And I would say it's more than just like how we've had in the past, like, oh, there's been a sinkhole here or something. This feels really significant. And it feels like when I'm reading the energy around whatever this is, it's almost like something's been happening under the surface for a while and we somehow become aware of it. And I am going to say this is like a thing. This isn't metaphorical. It feels like we're going to see some sort of shift in nature that's going to have this really large, significant crack. Like, I almost want to be like, is there an ice cap that's melting that like the like crevice that's created is like super significant, or we're seeing some sort of impact in like natural land earth that is going to create this really large significant crack. So we'll see where that is.
I hate to say I love this, but I love this prediction that it's like out there, but I don't love a crack in the earth, but I love it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I think what's been what the way it reads is almost like something's been happening under the surface, and so it's not like we can do something to stop it or whatever. I think it's going to happen. It's like we're all of a sudden becoming aware of something that was already happening.
Okay.
I see, this is a weird one. As soon as I kind of close my eyes and tune in, I see George Bush. And I'm also seeing like kind of that death card energy around him. And I don't know if we're going to see him say something that's like transformative or if he's going to die. But I don't know if it's something around like maybe we see a transformation of like what he was doing during his presidency. We'll see if that was a Freudian slip or not. But I don't know if something about his time in power is going to come out and we're going to see kind of the energy around that really transformed. Or like, that death card isn't always death, but he could also die. I don't know. I've never seen him pop in on anything, but George W. Bush is coming up. And so we'll see if he makes any major headlines.
That would be very interesting. Yeah, he plays his cards close to his chest or he doesn't know anything, one of the two. But that's a great one. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is I'm going to give the teeniest bit of trigger warning. I won't go deep into it, but I am going to talk a little bit about like the energy around rape. So 2025 being like a year 9, I think we're looking at conclusions. And one of the things that like they bring up around energy that we can kind of almost make a really significant impact on is like the ability to dismantle what I would call like a rape energy in terms of like taking in an unfair power dynamic. And I think there are a lot of structures that we see that exist in kind of in that shape. Like, I mean, cultural, like just lots of systemic issues that that they are taking in a power dynamic that's unfair. And this is where
go ahead. Tell me when you're done with that one.
I was just going to say, it feels like community is really key here. Like, I think we could be seeing the dissolution and dissolving of people accepting that that's just the norm. And so I mean this on individual levels when we talk about actual rape and sexual assault. But I think even parents, when there's parents and children, when there's an unfair power dynamic and parents are continuing to take, I feel like we've been slowly eating away at this energy. And when I look at 2025, I don't mean that we'll never see this anymore, but I mean, it's almost like we shift from it being normal to be in this specific power structure into it's not the norm to treat people that way, or not the norm to set companies up that way. I think there's an opportunity to shift and dismantle that energy.
Okay, not only do I love that prediction, but it wasn't one of mine, but I'm going to double back on you on that, because I have to say, this has been a weird thing for me over the past year. It started with Russell Brand and no one believed the women, and now the presidential candidates are I don't know that all of them are going to make it. It's a cartoon now. And even in the Me Too movement, when who was that guy everybody likes? I can't stand him. Matt Damon jumped up and defended the men we can't lose one man. We don't care about the women, but what if one man gets accused wrong? This, I feel like, I love that you said this, because I feel like this, I'm not going to take all your time. I'll give you an extra minute.
No, you take it.
This is huge. United States has a worse rape culture than any other country in the world. And as I saw this, I was as I saw the cabinet unfold, as I see Epstein float away, as I see nobody paying attention to Diddy, I'm something is wrong. So I love you for that. All right, keep going, my dear.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no, I think it's going to look almost a little bit like a caricature. It's and I mean this for people. I also mean it for companies, though, where there's unfair power dynamics and it's caricature. It's it's so silly. It's so obvious. It's so ridiculous. But I feel like we have the opportunity to kind of topple it, because it's too ridiculous.
It's too big.
A few more things when it comes to toppling power structures in 2025. I feel like we are getting really serious, especially because we're so connected through social media and things like that with activism and just cultural awareness. I think that what they're saying is essentially it's okay to topple power structures by laughing at the absurdity of them this year. You can be a serious activist. And I say serious in air quotes because activism comes in many forms, but it's almost if you laugh at the people who are holding so tightly to power and are mocking just the absurdity of it, you almost knock the wind out of their sails, is the way that they're showing it. And so I think the energy is of 2025, we can expand the way that we operate as activists by not just always being engaged and getting in that space of being having to witness everything that's super traumatic. And I love that. I love that there's really serious activism space in informing each other, but there's also this point of activism where you can just laugh at the people in power and it almost takes the power back. And then, okay, my last thing, I hear that timer.
Oh, that's okay. No, I talked a little on yours. Take your time. Go ahead.
Okay. The last thing is the energy feels like it's balancing on a spinning top this year. I'll say if you really imagine a top spinning and you're watching it and you start to see the wobble. This year feels like you don't know where it's going to fall, but you know it's going to fall. And I'm almost going, if we can see the humanity in each other, the thing that they almost talk about is this idea of being able to read people's intentions versus the fear that they're using to express their intention. We can almost make it fall in a direction that's good for us. So there are people who are sitting directly across from you in terms of opinion and thought that are just, that you can say, oh my gosh, the things they spout off are horrible. And if you can almost hear the intention behind the ridiculousness of like the horrible things that people who think different than you are saying, you can push that top to fall, like the way that this year ends, in a direction that benefits most of us. And so if you've ever listened to Jessa Reed talk about anything where you're like, she talks about like the best actors in the world are acting, but you can tell something's off. If you can almost play with that energy and going, your racist uncle who's spouting off all this crazy stuff, it's so easy to get really mad and it's justified. But if you can hear the point of what they're trying to make behind the facade of fear, I think we can like as the top falls this year, it can fall in a direction that is healing and benefits us. So that's what I would say.
Okay, great. Did you have one more, or was that everything?
No, that was it. That's 2025. I think we're going to get a conclusion on some things. We have an opportunity to kind of end this year in a way that benefits a lot of us, more than we would imagine. I think we can grow our community, and we'll see where that crevice is and what George W. Bush is doing.
I know. I love it. Thank you, Alex. I'm so glad we got to slip this in because it's been a crazy week. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can book a reading with you, and what you do.
Okay, so I do psychic energy work, and I do that in person or at a distance. And I'm also a death doula, so any death education or support, anything like that, you can find me at embracing_wild on Instagram or on my website at embracingwild.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, from the Curious Cat podcast, it's Jen Holtz. Jen, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? Happy New Year's.
I know. It's good to hear your voice because you, me, and Monique are text thread buddies, but I never hear anyone's voice. All right, darling. Real quick, the podcast, anything else you want people to know?
Yeah, they can find me at Curious Cat Podcast, wherever they listen. They can find me on socials with the same name. Or if they like cheeky nonfiction biographical articles, I'm on Substack under my name, Jennifer Holtz. They can just Google it.
I love cheeky.
The cheekier, the better.
That's right. That is right. All right, darling. What do you got for us? Hit us.
Okay. My guides said, you are your own planchette now. So you know that plastic thing with a pin that comes with airports and points to the answers?
Yeah.
If you've lost the ability, though, to hear yourself, maybe that connection to your inner planchette isn't strong. Well, they're suggesting an easy remedy and a daily exercise. Okay, so first, the easy remedy. Get into nature every day. That said, they don't mean like a 10-mile hike.
Mm-hmm.
Think standing barefoot on grass or frost for a minute. That does the trick. You can also like open your car window as you drive and breathe in the cold breeze, or just crack open a window in your home for just a few minutes. Okay, now the daily exercise. And this is because of my beloved friend, Derek Condit. He spoke of this on my podcast recently, and the guides brought it forward. Practice or work on your intuitive muscles in non-emotional ways. Okay, so by guessing the next color car to pass, or the next song to play on the radio, or the next person to text you. And then as you're doing this, memorize the feeling that comes with a correct answer. Then you'll be able to discern the truth or the way forward when something emotionally charged, which is going to happen, comes your way. Your muscle memory will be in place. Okay, and then the next topic that they brought up is 2025 is the year of bridging duality. Okay, what they mean is the space between dualities is the secret sauce. It's a place where the messages for us are clearest, loudest, and the manifesting for us is the easiest. That said, the dragons who saddle reality will be increasingly important during 2025. And I'll share their role at the end of this prediction because they jumped into the prediction. Of course they did. So Bridging dualities means standing with a foot in two realities at the same time. That's how we make our own portals or energy vortexes. So think sunrise and sunset. So not quite day and not yet night. Practicing yoga does it, which works out both the physical vessel and it connects us with the spiritual realm. Hypnosis, where we're dwelling in the subconscious, but at the same time, we're still conscious.
So like
There's
liminal spaces.
Yes, oh my God, that's a beautiful way to say it. Yes, like liminal spaces. Liminal almost adds that lightness to it because that's what we're doing is we're making this light vortex in those in-between spaces. And they said that there's a magic bridging moment that presents to all of us every morning when we first wake up. So we need to seize it. So it's that time when we're awake, but we're not all the way awake. And you're still kind of in sleep mode where your body's senses are dulled. You're almost paralyzed and your brain is kind of fuzzy. You haven't thought of your to-do list yet. Mm-hmm. That's when your third eye is wide open. So they said to stay quiet and listen. And they specifically said, don't let anybody in your house know, even your pets, that you're awake. And then just listen. And then when you do rise up, write down any messages you receive, even if it's just a word or something that doesn't make sense. So 2025 is exciting. You are all you need to discern the truth and make a dream into reality. Yes, it involves others, but your inner planchette will point the way. Believe in it. Invest in it. The last bits from my guide are more specific, I think. But first, they said, we know of chakras as wheels of energy near our spine. Well, that's when they're in balance. If they're unbalanced, then they become a band that stretches to one side of our bodies or another. So you may feel yourself like having a knot or leaning or an ache, or you may even be standing kind of tilted. So listen to a chakra cleansing and clearing meditation and get those wheels humming again along your spine. Okay, the second thing they brought with the very kind of specific was, this is a time when it's easy to get caught. Am I okay to cuss, Karen?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So they said that because they cussed a lot during this in a good way, like in an excited way. But they said this is a time when it's easy to get caught in the quicksand of bullshit, artificial stuff, fake stuff, toxic stuff, and some of it is even dark. But don't give in if you don't want to. Be picky about what you read and what you watch, what you listen to, and take into your senses. So for an example, I used to, in the evenings, I would edit what I wrote because I'm a writer, or I would do art and I would have Dateline on in the background, just like true crime. Well, I can't anymore. It's dark and it literally makes me vomit up like black bile if I do that. So instead, now I watch college sports or British baking shows are really good, except for they make you really hungry. They said to choose light, to choose laughter, loving more, and kind compassion. And third, last but definitely not least, are the dragons. So they told me they don't need to be mentioned, but Karen knows I am head over heels for them and what they do for us. As a planet and as a species, they've been working to mitigate storms and restore the balance on the planet. But they want us to know that we play a really big role in the imbalance. And it's not so much in the way that you maybe think of, like driving a Hummer. When the news streams fear porn to us, or maybe of a pandemic that's coming our way, or formation of a hurricane, or whatever politics, we can choose to add our fear, our anxiety, basically our low vibe energy to flesh out that timeline. Think about how we make tulpas by willing them into existence. Well, the dragons warned me that every click or eyeball adds to the making of those realities. And they mentioned that there's another way to see it as a game and see through their little attempts at destruction. And then intentionally take your attention away from that timeline, redirect it as a positive outcome. So remember the saying, where your attention goes, your energy flows. ask the dragons or your guides and angels, whatever you connect with, to eat the storms and eat those possible pandemics and then transmute them into love. So I've seen them take I love I gotta beep. So I'm really close to the end.
Sure, go ahead.
I just simply wanted to say that I have seen the dragons firsthand take excess waters from the Gulf of Mexico, suck it up, and transport it to regions that are suffering drought. They can do and love to do anything to help. We just need to ask. And that was the last piece of it is your guides, your angels, your ancestors, your spirits. They are begging us to ask because we have the law of free will. So just ask them. And they said, we can do 100,000 things at the same time. And it doesn't matter that you asked 5 minutes ago and you will 5 minutes from now. So that's it. Happy New Year.
That is wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. And tell everyone again where they can find you, where they can listen. And by the way, Jennifer made me the most amazing dragon drawing that I am going to paint. And I'm so excited about it.
Oh, okay. And you have to send me a picture of what you paint and don't feel like you can do any wrong. It's just art. The dragon is in love with you. And it doesn't mean you have to put him up in the way he is. It's like his energy is with you to protect you all the time. So if anybody connects with dragons, I do. I draw dragons when they poke out at me, they pop out at me. Mm-hmm. And right now in front of me, I have a light dragon, a coral dragon, the White Ranch Park dragon, and an earth dragon. So I put them on my Instagram under Curious Cat Podcast. Beautiful. And if you connect with one, just DM me and I will mail it to you if you're in the US because it's meant to be yours.
I love it. All right, Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a happy New Year's and love to all of you.
Thank you, my friend. Yay, Renee Watts is here. Renee, I have been I've really missed you. We have not connected and we have to start connecting. So, how have you been?
I've been good. I miss you too. I just love and appreciate everything that you bring to the spiritual realms because you know what? This industry can be shockingly toxic. Yeah. And you are one of the real deal no bullshit.
Oh, thank you.
People. And I just know that I'm never going to have a problem with you. You're always going to be good vibes. You're you know what I mean? And I also know just as a reader, you don't sugarcoat people. You tell them how it is. And I just it's just so nice to connect with real people in the industry.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And ditto, I really appreciate you, which is why every time, man, and we're going to talk, we won't talk about that now, but you have some other stuff happening this year. So we're going to do a separate podcast and talk about that, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, all right, darling, hit me. What's happening in 2025?
All right. Well, we already are kind of slipping into, we had, Pluto and Aquarius, which everyone is dubbing the age of Aquarius. And, whether or not you want to call it the age of Aquarius is neither here nor there. So Pluto is the planet of destruction. And I know that I've been talking about this transit in the last couple of times that I've done a prediction episode with you, but it's because it's a slow moving planet and it retrograded back into Capricorn. And now it's in Aquarius where it's going to be for 20 years. Pluto is the planet of destruction. Aquarius is the planet of revolution. And we are already seeing that. I mean, our government is a crazy mess. France's government just collapsed. And it has to do a lot with politics. And Aquarius has to do with the interconnectedness of our world and collective consciousness. So I think that we're going to see on a public scale, people just thinking differently about are becoming more aware about those invisible lines that connect everything. And so I feel like there's going to be more of an awareness of just how commerce works, how much we rely on other countries, how much the world relies on each other. But with that also comes a lot of conflict, and that is escalating everywhere. And unfortunately, the thing about Pluto is it's a wrecking ball. It's this is fucked up. Sorry for dropping F-bombs, but I think everyone here can handle it.
Yes. We're okay. And also, I just want to throw in, did you see South Korea? like
Yes.
they shut it down. Like they were like, nope. And I loved it. Anyway.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think we're going to be seeing that because with Pluto coming out of Capricorn, Capricorn is like a very regimented, like, it's the authority, which can be a good and a bad thing. Like when you have authority over your own life, like Capricorn's great, but when you are dealing with oppressors, it's not so great. And so with Pluto coming out of it, all of the oppressors are like, what? Like, am I losing control? And so they're all getting kind of wacky. And Aquarius does bring out like the quirky, strange aspects of everyone and everything. So like, we're seeing just like insane stuff happening in our own government. We're seeing idiocracy happen, right?
Yes. A cartoon.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? And so Aquarius is just like the weirdest sign. It is the most like out of the blue, balls to the wall, crazy sign, which is like, it's going to be great in so many ways. I think we're going to learn a lot about aliens. I think that technological advancements are going to be huge. But at the same time, like, revolutions come out of this. And people are going to be fed up with all of these like oppressors, all of these like authoritarian archetypes getting more intense. And so I feel like the coping mechanism here is, first of all, like, Mars is in retrograde until I think it's like January. Oh God, like the end of January. I think it's the 25th. I'm not one of the astrologers who has like every date in their brain. But it's the end of January. Nope, it's February. I'm like trying to I'm trying to pull the chart right now. So yeah, it's February 25th, 24th. And so Mars is in retrograde, which means that like on a personal scale, don't worry about doing anything. Don't worry about releasing projects. Don't worry about what you've got going on outside of your personal life and your immediate goals, because the outside world is going to be way too overstimulating and way too overwhelming, especially as we have this transition of power. And with Pluto and Aquarius, it's going to be hard to block out what's happening in the world. And so it's really going to be important to like have a physical outlet, because with like Mars energy gets really pent up, especially when it's in retrograde. So it's going to be important that you are like having a healthy relationship with the news and also like moving your body, because energy will get trapped in your body. Mars wants to move and it's not moving like it normally is. And if you're not like a highly physical person, this can also be like channeled through creative projects, creative outlets. But I will say, if you're not a highly physical person, that, if you're not like a super health oriented person, that honestly does need to change this year, because we do have a nodal shift. So the North Node and the South Node, it's sort of like the North Node is what we are going towards, and the South Node is what we're releasing. So the South Node is going into Virgo. The nodes are shifting on January 11th. And this is what all of our eclipses revolve around. This is sort of like how we redefine fate, how we redefine our destiny. And everything about this year and the next year and a half really is about like, how do we drop bad habits? How do we break out of unhealthy routines? Like, if you know what I mean, like if you have insomnia, are you on your screens right before going to bed? Like, what are your nighttime rituals look like? What do your morning rituals look like? Are you burning the candle at both ends? Everything about this astrological transit is like, how do you take care of yourself? Which is going to be so important as the world gets weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yep. And also, yeah. Anyways, you keep going. Keep going.
So once we have this nodal shift come up, it's also going to really accentuate the duality and also sort of like the commonality that exists between our emotions and our bodies. And so, there can be this tendency when we are so like, as a society, we are just sort of like constant hustle. America is like all about the grind. And a lot of the times we get so busy that we don't really sit down and process our emotions.
Yeah.
And then they become like a physical manifestation. And so if you are starting to feel disconnected from your surroundings, if you're starting to feel like you're on autopilot, or if you've been operating from that place, as soon as we hit the eclipses, which is going to start in May, that is when there is going to be like boiling over moments where we just sort of like our bodies can't keep up with the sort of like demands that we put on ourselves emotionally and physically. And there can be physical breakdowns, health breakdowns, or emotional breakdowns. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. That's happening in March.
Okay.
When you called, I was like, oh my God, I lost track of time. And so I don't have my notes that I normally have. I'm like flying through my astrology wheel right now as we talk. But yeah, so when you start hearing about eclipse season, which if you follow any astrologers online, like that's your cue. Where am I at physically? Where am I at emotionally? Because you're not going to be able to separate those things anymore. And a mindfulness practice is really what's going to be what saves you from that sort of like hitting a wall. And also like taking more time off of work. A lot of people become the caretakers or at their work and become the caretakers around the office and sort of like have these relationships with their colleagues where they become the fixer somehow. And then their office becomes overly reliant on like this one person. And this is sort of the time where, if you're that person, you need to get a little bit more direct on like what tasks you can delegate to other people. And this is also true at the home. This is also true in relationships. Like what are you carrying too much, or are you not carrying enough? Like where are there imbalances when it comes to workloads? Because wherever there's an imbalance is where there will be problems. So like if you're the slacker, if you don't want someone to have a meltdown and like lose their mind on you, you've got to figure out how to step it up, because you're not going to be able to skate on that sort of riding other people's backs. And it's also going to be really important that like if you are the person who's doing a lot of work, that you take credit for your work, especially if you're more of a people pleasing or passive type person. It's going to be this situation where like, are you
that is the
Is that
time
the
bell.
bell?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. I was like, is that a fire alarm or is that the bell?
I forgot to tell you the bell before I
That's
called.
okay. As soon as I heard it, I like kind of remembered. But yeah, so this is going to be like one of those situations where you have to kind of watch how the wheels are turning in your life, in your work life, in your situation, and figure out how you can grease them and make them healthier, not only for you, but for others. But you also have to just sort of like, be direct about taking credit for the work that you do.
Good.
And also, health is huge. Health is going to be so important for people that have underlying health issues. This is going to be the time where you have to really get serious about how you can holistically support yourself, because otherwise, like, it's not going to be good. It's just not. I don't want to be the scary astrologer, but this is the universe's time of like, you have to take care of yourself. You just do.
I get it. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can find you and what they can offer, what you offer.
Yes. So I offer astrology readings. I have spell kits. I do psychic readings, tarot readings. I've been doing, I got my first tarot deck when I was 10. Like I got you, whatever you need. And you can find me. I'm most active on Instagram at rainbowglitterstar.com. My website is rainbowglitterstar.com. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to chat. With you.
We're going to make it continue off the air.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Hey, everybody, back in the United States, we are talking with Barbara With. Last time I saw you or talked to you, you were in Europe, I think, right?
Yes, last year I was on my European leg of my World Peace Tour, and what a wild ride.
Oh, that is amazing. All right, honey, I am going to hit the timer. Go. What do you have for 2025?
All right, 2025 has this sort of dual edge to it. one is that everything is going to change from the microcosm to the macrocosm.
Love it.
Things that we thought we knew were true are going to not be, and then other things that we thought were not true are going to be. And so I think it's good that everybody just, get ready to pivot, because then the things that the macrocosm, the stuff that's outside our control, it's going to be. I mean, it's already a bumpy ride, but I think 2025 is this is the Pluto moving into Aquarius, and I'm not an astrologer, but I am an Aquarian. And I know that Pluto is about structure and Aquarius is about this incredible creative energy. So we're here to kind of on a personal level to really take care of ourselves to this new level of making sure that we are making decisions and setting up our life to accommodate what our needs are, to what our lives need in order for us to take care of ourselves. And that's something that so many people don't do. They just don't. And we're going to be pushed into a corner on that. If you're not going to do it, then you're going to be, something's going to happen where you're going to be forced to have to do that. So the more people can pivot and make that kind of a priority, then the macrocosm of, just make a list. Climate, governments, war, peace, dollars, everything is in flux. And over here on my channel, we are big purveyors of it beginning within us. So I think the more that people can understand that we're not victims to these outside sources and that we actually can contribute to some peace by starting with ourselves, with our own lives, with our own, what seems like sometimes little piddly conflicts, family member things, or just stuff that doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. Well, it really does. This is the quality of our life and the quality of our relationships. And we have so much more power to influence those everyday kinds of things than we give ourselves credit for. And, I'm a psychic and people come to me. I've been doing this for, almost 40 years now. And if you're looking for an answer, if you're looking for a psychic to tell you how things are going to be, that time is over.
Well, that's my job, though. I have a ton of things for next year. Why do you mean that's over?
Well, I mean, it's consulting and getting insights is never over. But for me, when people come and they're just so anxious to find out what's going to happen in the future, what is going to happen in the future, then that shapes their worldview. I think you and I I do predictions too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't ever do that, but I think on a day-to-day basis, people are going to be challenged to learn to just rely on themselves more, to learn how to be more intuitive. And I think the more that we can do to reflect that back to people, the more they're going to be prepared, better able to pivot, those kinds of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So are you optimistic, or I'm going to let you get to your list. You keep going.
No, I am optimistic.
But I mean, about like the economy or the way things are changing for like the 3D world.
Yes, the 3D world, I am optimistic. My sense is, and I've been seeing this in, it all depends on what you look at and what you're focused on. But we're going through this change where my guides have said the old world is coming down, the new world is coming up, and they're sort of meeting each other. And so while the old one is coming down clearly, and the new one isn't quite up yet, it's rising. And that's the other part of my excitement about 2025 is about innovation, is that we are going to see the rise of innovation like I don't know if we've ever seen before. And certainly AI is part of this, and there's a good side and a bad side to AI.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going to find out that things, how they are now, I think there's going to be an upswing. I think there's going to be an upswing in economy. I think that, tightening one's belt as we as a country have had to do for years and years, is probably going to be painful, like it always is. But there's an energy in the air that at least we're doing something. At least there's some focus, there's some vision, and in this new direction. And who knows what that is? But I'm so excited because there are a lot of people in the world who put their spiritual energy into becoming the change and into projecting the peace and into projecting the positive, powerful changes that we can have as a species.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever been that that way before either as a collective species. So
yeah, I think we're it's funny. Well, go ahead. You got just a couple minutes or like a minute left, so go ahead, and then I'll comment at the end.
Yeah. Well, and I think the last thing is, I'm not unrealistic. There's a lot of turmoil that's going on, and I think that turmoil is going to continue. But I also think that the more that we breathe our way through it and really have a conscientiousness, now is the time to have a spiritual practice. Now is the time to want to be a part of that change. And also projection. Let's stop projecting on each other.
Yes. Well, you know what I think, and this is and you're always optimistic, Barbara. That's a good, that's why I love you but this is always part of what it is too. Even if there's something horrible in front of us, the bigger picture is always, it's going to get better. Like like the tower card, we have to knock this down to rebuild it.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. All right, my friend. What are you doing this year? Tell people where they can find you or book a reading or talk with you. What are you doing?
Oh, well, come to barbarawith.com. And I am preparing for 2025, where I'm doing a little bit of expansion. I've got some meditation stuff going on. I got some classes online. I've got a membership that I'm offering coming up for those of you who love to listen to the channeling of Einstein on a regular basis. And so you can see all that at barbarawith.com.
Yes, you should get a Patreon too with that.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Barbara.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Rhonda Tomo is here. And Rhonda, this is your first time on the Predictions podcast, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I've been listening for a couple of years and finally able to be on.
You made it. And also, I believe your podcast episode that we did on art and intuition is coming up. I think it's the end of January, but everybody watch for it. And all right, lady, hit me. What do you got for 2025?
Okay, well, I got chills about 2025, actually, and I'm a little nervous about that, so please don't shoot the messenger. The overall arching theme is that, the fever dream energy that we've all been living in, if you've been feeling that continues, but it's almost like we're conditioned to it at this point through 2025, so it's going to start to feel less feverish and more like you're living in an art film. Whichever art film it is, if it's made by A24, so be it. But the big weird thing is that a lot of this is going to work its way out through what we see in political theater. So I'm not going to call it politics as much as theater, because really I think a lot of us are going to start to realize that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be an exercise in understanding that what the media wants you to pay attention to is actually not that important to you. So if you think about whether or not the ripple is touching you physically, that's really where that metric needs to lie. Some people might criticize that as selfish, but honestly, you got to look out for number one right now.
Mm-hmm.
Our greatest danger right now is indulging in propaganda without discernment. And 2025 is going to be a big year for that.
Nice.
It's going to be a big test. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I really like the intensity of what you're saying. It all resonates. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big test of presence, especially when we watch politics unfold. People are going to be increasingly aware of the mind-body energy connection as well. Some of us have been in this community and this train of thought have been thinking about the body as an oracle more and more. I know I've been experiencing it. Where is that ache and pain, and where does that align to a chakra? Where does that align metaphysically? Because usually there's a connection, and more I'm even noticing it in my own life and seeing it in the people around me. Because if you think about Hermetic law, as above, so below, as within, so without, your body is a microcosm of the rest of the universe. So whatever's happening out there is happening in you and vice versa. With all of that and all the chaos that's swirling around us in this art film energy, people are going to continue to return to religion, or they're going to bloom further into spirituality in new ways. So there's going to be an increase in seeking. So there's going to be a stronger connection and desire to be involved with divinity in some sort of way. However, pathway is most comfortable for you. And overall health consciousness is going to ramp up. But I did pull some cards for each quarter of the year. The beginning of the year is going to be all about choices. So we've got the Two of Swords, the Knave of Swords, and the Two of Wands. So people are going to be scouting, almost like they're bargain shopping reality. And I think part of it is because I'm getting that the inauguration is going to happen without a hitch. Like it's actually going to happen, and people are hoping something dramatic is going to keep it from happening. And I think that
just
maybe I'm
day.
wrong, but yeah, it's going to be another day, and people are going to be really let down by it. Like they got socks for Christmas again. Some people are going to tiptoe cautiously forward, and others are going to be diving headlong into whatever they want to do instead. But really, the advice I'm getting for this part of the year is to do what makes your heart sing. The second half of the year is going to kind of progress a little bit more in the direction of doing what makes your heart sing. We have not the second half, but the second quarter. We have the Magician, the Nine of Cups, 10 of Wands. The Ace of Swords was also at the bottom of my deck. And it's going to feel good, kind of like a pressure valve's releasing. And there's going to be some wish fulfillment, some harvest energy. Whatever you've been working on the previous months, you're going to be able to reap what you've been sowing. And the advice for this part of the year is that you can be the best version of yourself at any time just by enjoying your existence. And this is going to be really, really important for those of us that are prone to the despair. The despair button when they are upset by what they see in the media. And not to bum anybody out, but the death card kept peeking out. Some people get excited about the death card if they're really hoping for change, but the death card kept peeking out and then came up when it pulled for the third quarter of the year. And this is where I started getting chills. Politics are going to, I get this, it's ripe for a political coup. I'm just going to say it. So
for like an assassination?
I'm not getting assassination. I'm getting like
a party dying out or something like that,
or like the storming the Bastille, like French Revolution kind of coup. Maybe not with the guillotine. I'm not seeing seeing assassination. I'm not seeing death, but not physical death. But I am seeing like political coup of some sort. But I'm also not seeing that it's going to work. It's not going to be resolved right away, of course. So I'm getting a lot of transformation in the summer. We got the Death card, the Three of Wands, the King of Swords, and then the Devil was at the bottom of the deck. So the litmus test for this part of the year is whatever space you feel resistance in don't push forward in resistance. Kind of go in toward the path of least resistance for you, because it's going to feel real weird during the second half of the summer into the beginning of fall. And the advice here is pace yourself because you're growing muscles. Yeah, so it's going to be real weird. But again, go back to like, what does this mean for you as an individual? Is this ripple actually touching you today? If not, then go towards what feels the most easeful. So the fourth quarter of the year is a engine revving energy. There's a lot of impatience and anxiousness, which I've got. So the second half of the year, when I saw political coup, I also saw Knight of Pentacles, which always comes up when you're sowing seeds for later. Slow burn energy. And then I got Five of Wands for the end of the year. So politically. So I'm seeing this is where whatever's going to happen, if this political coup happens, this is where they're doing their like practice fighting. You know, like the five of wands, where they're using sticks instead of swords. I also sometimes it's where you're assembling your team. I like to think of it as the Blues Brothers card sometimes too, which is getting the band back together. But
well, you know, it's funny because also they're all in different outfits, like January 6th. So it's not an army. It's a right,
exactly. So the end of the year, the fourth quarter, you know, some people are going to be really, really anxious to go forward. But the advice here is to take time to avoid the compare and despair. I know I got a minute. I'm good. I could do this.
You got it. You got it.
All right. So we have the 10 of Cups for the end of the year, which is good. You know, that's fortune after difficulty. But then again, that's also like, what does that mean in your own island? And then we also have the Hanged One, the Hermit, and the Seven of Pentacles. So there's a lot of uncertainty and confusion, and really like avoid the compare and despair, and really, really stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
This is going to be something that you're going to need to do if you take deliberate steps forward. Your end of 2025 is going to help you be ready for 2026. And the overall general themes, well, we have a 9-year coming up. I know you know that because you look up the numerology. But I got the Magician and the World for the overall overarching big zoomed out picture, which I think is beautiful because we are making our world the way we want it to be and closing out an old one. But people have a choice. You know, you could do 6 of Cups, or you could do 8 of Swords. You know, what kind of self-imposed restrictions are you going to allow to lock you up? Or, you know, what are you going to do that feels good and fills your own cup? And the advice overall for everybody is the world needs an authentic you as much as they need everything else.
So on point with everything I'm feeling and putting out. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's 2025 from me.
That is great. All right. Tell everyone where they can find you. Tell them about your Patreon, which I love. I'm a member. Tell them everything.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram, on Patreon, primarily. And I have a YouTube channel, but it's not as active there. But so my big things are Instagram and Patreon at Half Moon Path Studio. I also have a website, halfmoonpathstudio.com. You can find all of my stuff from my website, and that's where you can book with me. I do therapeutic art coaching, creative mentorship, metaphysical mentorship, energy readings, and all of that other stuff in between. And if there's something you're interested in working with me on, just email me and we can work something out.
Awesome. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thanks, Karen.
Hey, Alex Butts is here. Alex, your episode actually is, I think, right before this episode. So they already love you, and you're having the same problem I am. So just yell hold if the delivery guy shows up.
Perfect.
Right, darling, I'm going to start the timer. What do you have for 2025?
All right. So for 2025, I have just a little bit of a disclaimer, and we'll get into why I'm saying this. So for 2025, I am seeing that it's very important to be aware of where you place your attention and what your values are. And basically for this year, next year, more than ever, that's going to be shaping your reality. So with that said, this is my read on the energy for 2025. And hopefully this will help us tap into the highest timeline for next year. So to do this, I channeled my guides, got some very cryptic symbols, and I followed that up with an oracle card deck to help put some meat on the bones of that symbolism that I got. So starting off the year, I literally saw this as being a split of blue and red. And I think this is both a literal and emotional kind of symbolism for how the year is going to start and end. So as in a literal sense of being a lot of wet weather, either being snow, flooding, storms, that kind of stuff. And then ending in, hopefully not, but maybe more wildfires, a lot of wind and tornadoes, that kind of thing. But definitely the year having some kind of a wet start. I also see this kind of showing up as either weather modification will be at play in this, or people will become more aware of how the weather is being super modified.
I love that word.
So that's one
Really
thing.
quickly, I want to say to people when they laugh and when they say Marjorie Taylor Greene says they're controlling the weather. It's not controlling. Look at the chemtrails. Look at the cloud seeding. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, I think that is going to be, it's already a big theme, but I think people are going to become more aware of that in a more meaningful way. So outside of that, on the like emotional inner side of this red and blue split, I see the year starting off with a lot of sadness and a lot of heavy emotions, some kind of sorrow. And that might be just because Trump's coming into office. It might be for some tragedy that happens in the world, hopefully not in the United States. I don't know, but I just see a lot of heavy emotions. And then that turning into like resentment, a lot of like revolutionary type feelings, a lot of rioting, and all of those war are associated words. And definitely war. War is definitely going to be a big theme for this year, and little battles and skirmishes popping out.
Yep.
Moving into spring, I literally saw this as a dinner table being set. And this kind of sets us up for the rest of the year, this dinner table being set for us. I see springtime as a time where we get a lay of the land and get an idea of what the year may hold. I think some of the sadness and emotion from the first few months of the year are going to pass, and people are going to feel like their feet underneath them. And then, unfortunately, I think the rug is going to be pulled out from underneath us. So for spring into summer, I'm seeing this having a big tug of war energy. A lot of tit for tats, a lot of on a personal level, should I, shouldn't I? Basically, after that dinner table is set for us in the spring, we're going to have a whole buffet of options of what do I do? What do I want to do with the rest of this year? What do I want to do with my life? So that's going to be a big back and forth for a lot of people on a like national and international scale. I see this as being a lot of little battles politically. Definitely within the United States, I think we can put some money on that, but also internationally, I think like this whole kind of war energy, a lot of stuff has been bubbling under the surface. I think some wars might end, but new ones will take their places. And basically this buffet of options, it also is going to come with an overwhelm of choice. So for people, I think on a personal level, this is going to be, some new opportunities pop up, some old opportunities pop up, some things will take you in a left turn, some things will take you in a dead end. And this is also why I started off with saying, be aware of where your attention is and what you value, because that's really going to dictate what the rest of the year is going to hold for you. And to not get overwhelmed with the overwhelm of choices in front of you, but also the noise that's going on in the world, because I do see it being like a little
very noisy. Yeah.
Yeah. And going into the fall and the end of the year, I see this as a great reshuffle of sorts. Like the cards are getting shuffled, the dinner plates are getting taken off, new courses are getting brought on, and there's going to be a lot of movement and a lot of change. I see this both as people physically uprooting their lives and moving across country, perhaps internationally. I think some of this might be weather related, like you got flooded out, you're not going to stay anymore. Or it's like, I lost my job and now I have to move back home, or some kind of thing like that. Or just people taking advantage of the options and saying, you know what, it's time that I finally do X, Y, and Z in my life and make a big drastic life change. So it's, a variety of stuff. Let's see what else. I see this ultimately as having a greater good, obviously, of people finding their soul families, also finding your energy match. I think we can definitely bet that, at least within the United States, that certain states are going to pass certain policies in reaction to some things. And so people who live there are going to not like that. So they're going to be basically forced to move to find a place where you match that energy, where you share the same beliefs. And I think from there, a lot of this moving great reshuffle type of energy is going to be ongoing for the next few years. And after you kind of find your place, after you get settled and back rooted where we're all supposed to be, I think from there on out, we're all writing the story of our life as we choose. And that, I think, is ongoing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
More is that's the gist?
That's the gist of it. And I think, again, just be for everyone to be super, super clear on what you value and what you want in your life. Ask yourself, how do I want to live next year? And what needs to be arranged to make that real and start living that story now?
Beautiful. That was great. Thank you, Alex. I agree with you on everything. Everything. And you did it in such a nice, optimistic way. It was great. All right. Wonderful. My dear. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they should watch your YouTube channel, all that stuff.
Yeah. If anybody is thinking, all of this stuff sounds crazy, book a session with me. My website's observerswithin.com. And you can find me on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram also at Observers Within.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much.
All right. You get your package now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Ashley Thornton is here. Ashley is our specialist. Ashley is our entertainment psychic. I love that. You should promote that, on other podcasts.
Oh, thank you. But within entertainment, as you know, I love the Oscars. If anyone's like, who watches that? It's me. I'm the person. I'm the one.
Yes. And it's good. Yeah, I guess people want it more gossipy than, anyways. All right, darling.
Well, they're going to be disappointed.
Right. I mean, other people, that's not what we want. All right. All right, lady, I am starting the timer. Hit me for 2025. Go.
Okay, so I know you know this, but the general audience would not. So the reason why I was not on last year is I was actually trying to compete for the Oscars last year and this year. I was happy to lose to Wes Anderson last year. And so that's why I didn't do it last year because, it was too close to home.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, so I did not qualify. It's all good. But I did just a couple days ago, I emailed the two producers and I was inquiring about writing for the ceremony. So don't know how that will turn out. But hey, at least I put myself out there.
Right. And also tell everybody really quickly about your project, about your short film.
It is called Dead Air, and we have been on the festival circuit 2024, and I still have I'm winding it down in 2025 to work on the next thing, but hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll still have some screenings in 2025.
Okay, great. All right, who is winning what?
Okay, so with that being said, because hopefully I'm writing, fingers crossed. I feel like it was too close to home, but what I love doing for the mid-year was looking into missing or stolen Oscars. So I wanted to do that again.
Sure.
And so I don't know if people would remember this because I think it was all the way in 2022, but I was teasing about Haley Mills's stolen Oscar. So I did it, and I'm sorry to disappoint. So I did do a tarot reading, and I feel confident about what happened, where it is, and all that. However, I was told by my tarot not to make it public because it would actually make the situation worse. Because the person I was getting that the person who stole it, they need to, all the emotions that they need to feel internally. It's very important that they come to that on their own to return the Oscar to her. So I was getting, if it was me or someone else, I was just getting if we try to push that, it would actually delay it and make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, Haley Mills, I love you. But to make it faster, I'm going to not say anything.
Okay. You can tell us next year. All right.
Okay. And then a little follow-up with Hattie McDaniel's missing Oscar. So in 2023, the Academy did donate a replacement to Howard University, but I still stand by my reading. And so I actually emailed the chair of the drama department at Howard requesting to search. I haven't heard back yet, but I just want to put this out there in the universe. If anyone knows anyone at Howard University, please let me go. I will fly out to Washington, D.C. on my own dime.
Excellent.
So, and then kind of along the same line. So the one that where I'm going to give the reading about is the Gone with the Wind missing Best Picture Oscar. So, which was awarded to the producer David O. Selznick. And then here's something, Karen. There's research.
Oh,
are you ready for my fact of the day? So, in 1999, Michael Jackson purchased the Oscar at auction for $1.5 million. So we do know Michael Jackson had it. That's the research. And then it's what I found out was after his passing, his estate reported that after taking inventory of all of his properties, they had not found the Oscar. So it's missing in action. So this is where my tarot reading comes in.
Okay.
And I just have bullet points. I'm just going to go down the list.
Okay.
I don't know if this is in order, but this is just how it all came to me. So I'm getting that it is in a store, like a newer storage facility on the second floor. And I was getting Orlando, Florida, or maybe like the suburbs of Orlando, but I got the sun and immediately I was like the Sunshine State, Florida. And then so I do tarot, my best friend does runes, and I'm like, hey, can you just pull a rune? Am I right about Florida? And she was getting a big fat yes. So I'm getting the Oscars in Florida. And then also for my friend's room, she's getting it's near water. Either the storage facility is near water or it could even be on a boat, but don't know if it's the Atlantic or Gulf side. Although then again, we didn't ask. But here's the reason why I chose this one out of all the other missing or stolen Oscars is she was getting it could be in peril due to the water. Not sure if this is just from the general humidity of Florida or if it could be in a geographical area that could be affected by a hurricane.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, this is why I made this like my number one. And we'll need to get permission from the executors of his estate to go to this storage facility. And I would like the image I was getting in my mind is it's in a like off-white box without the lid, surrounded by red velvet on top of a stack of brown boxes containing heirlooms passed down from Katherine Jackson. Catherine's heirlooms ended up in the box after Michael's passing. And I'm getting a lot of the items in the room. It's a lot of home stuff, little to no furniture. And like, it's just there. Like if you just start looking, you'll find it. It's not super hidden. Like just go to this place and just start going through everything and voila, it's there. And then so I already have emailed both Paris Jackson and Catherine Jackson's representation. Sorry, I just noticed a typo in my notes. And then I also emailed the current owner of Neverland Ranch, and I left a voicemail with one of the lawyers who is the co-executor of his estate. So if anyone knows anyone in the Jackson family or his estate, please reach out to me. So that's what I got for that Oscar is, believe it or not, it's in Florida. And I'm getting it's like only one person knows of this Florida thing. So, I kind of feel like everyone has like a little piece of the puzzle. And when we all get together, that's when that's when it will be found.
Got it. Okay.
And then I do have, so I haven't heard my timer yet. So my tarot cards
20
told me they're
seconds to timer. So.
Okay. So, cause I have this in categories. I have a time permitting thing. Okay. There's my bell. My tarot cards are like, you can be a big girl and predict things like everyone else.
Yep.
That's how they told it to me too.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine. So I pulled one advice card for the audience and I got the 8 of Swords. And as soon as I heard it, the song Let It Go from Frozen. And, better to go with the flow, better to wait as opposed to taking action. Even more benefits will come if you're able to wait. And then also music is healing.
Okay. So what is the prediction? I'm confused.
Oh, just like advice for the year. Like, just wait. So okay. Like, it's like if someone wants to schedule a meeting, like, hey, I could do it this week or I could do it 3 weeks from now, like choose the later one. Like it's better to wait. And then also I was getting the message about music because, in a career
Okay.
reading, that's the musician's card. So like
Yeah.
if someone's going through a hard time, like just listen to music. Can be people can find it healing,
All right.
like just in general.
All right. And if people know anything about what you were looking for, what's your email address?
Okay, so the best way to reach out to me is through Instagram, and it's my full name, Ashley Marie Thornton, ASHLEIGHMARIETHORNTON.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, dearie.
Thank you. Have a happy 2025, everyone.
Monique is here. Monique from the Homewrecker podcast. And I know this because I look it up all the time because I send your website to all these people. It is innerstandings.com, correct?
Innerstandingshypnosis.com.
Understanding hypnosis. When I hit innerstandings, it comes up right away. So that's my excuse why I didn't get it right.
There you go.
All right, Monique, I'm going to hit the timer. What do you got for us?
All right. So I did it a little differently this year for my predictions. Typically, I just pull from different tarot decks. This year, I used my Dragon Connection guided hypnotherapy digital download on myself to go into self hypnosis and to connect with the dragons. And I actually did this because I always get better messages when I do that.
Great.
And this guided session, if anyone wants to go to my website and check it out, you go into hypnosis, you do some grounding work, and then you work on growing your inner light before calling and connecting with the dragons. And I'm saying that because it comes up in what I got.
Okay.
So after my session, I pulled 3 cards from my Rider-Waite deck asking about each thing that I was shown. So first of all, when I was going deeper into hypnosis, I saw 2 cosmic dragons, and they were showing me more information about outer space, but it's not aliens. It's more of a hint of truth about our origins.
Oh.
So when I pulled cards for this, asking for more information, I felt into the cards, and what I got is we're going to see a glimpse of who's really in charge. And while the intention of it is to bring balance, it's also going to end up being a fight for power and control. So you're going to have people fighting over it. It's one of those, it was meant to help, and it actually didn't really go the way planned. And it doesn't matter where you live, country, city, ocean sides, it's going to affect you somehow.
Okay. And is this probably the Christians are going to push back, right? They're going to say
It's possible. So I was curious, is this going to be a religious thing? Because I got more, it's supposed to be self-empowering.
Okay.
But it's like, well, you know how it is. Anything, it's like, oh, this is good, and somebody's going to fight you on it.
Right. Oh, this is change. I don't want that.
Yes. So then during the grounding part of the hypnosis, I saw a rainbow dragon, and I just felt very hopeful. I felt like it was a message of it's going to be okay. So when I called the dragons, I had a lot appear. The one that I asked for one dragon to come forward and bring me information. The one that came forward was a phoenix dragon. And I think that was symbolic as well. But she had me fly with her to show me what was to come for 2025. So one of the first things I saw was solar flares and electrical disturbances. And these disturbances are going to cause major problems. And I got the feeling like we're going to have maybe some massive blackouts for next year.
The grid, yep.
Like no power. Yeah. And the other thing is when I pulled the cards, it came up that this is actually going to benefit us in some way. So if that does happen, don't freak out, because it's going to help us reset ourselves.
Right.
And it's going to suck for a while, but it's going to really do us a favor. But it's going to take time to see the benefits of it all. And with the solar flare, I don't know if that might be the excuse they're giving on why it happens, but I got like solar flares will be connected to it.
Oh, okay.
I saw a Pegasus, and it immediately made me think of Project Pegasus, which is a time travel project where the U.S. allegedly achieved time travel. But there's also Pegasus Project, and that's regarding spyware that was used on journalists, lawyers, and others. So I'm curious if something is going to come up about either of these.
Oh, great. Well, the truth coming out, that's probably absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the next things I saw was Trump, and he was like arguing, kind of fighting with another country, not war, just like going back and forth, like shaking his fist. I saw a closed lotus that was kind of golden with light inside, and I also saw mountains. So I got the feeling it was China. that he's going to be fighting with China.
I had that exact thing. Yep.
Yeah. So when I was shuffling the cards, I saw a red dragon and a couple other things that confirmed for me it was China. And then while shuffling, 4 cards fell from the deck. And then I did end up pulling 2 more for clarification. So what I got is this is a fight about power, censorship, imports, and freedom. And it's going to seem we're going to be victorious, but it's going to affect the world in different ways. So there's going to be a lot of benefit from it, but also a lot of hardship. It's one of those where like we win, but it doesn't feel like we win. And there's going to be a lot of work to do before that actually it's going to suck for a while, but it will get better because we won. So I think it might be growing pains we're going to go through. So we'll win, but it won't quite feel like it. The next thing I got was kind of weird. I saw an island sinking and it felt like it was maybe in the South Pacific somewhere. And it seemed like an uninhabited island. So I didn't get something where there was like lots of people. It was one of those like little islands that most people probably don't know about. And I thought that was interesting. When I pulled the cards for this, I got all really good positive cards. So I get the feeling that by this island sinking, it's going to be good in some way. It's going to be.
That's a great. I love that how out on the limb that prediction is because that's great. Okay.
Yeah. And I was seeing like sharks and turtles in water, like in the ocean. I was inside the ocean. And there was like this massive sonic kind of disturbance. And the sea life was like, it's okay, we're okay. So when I pulled the cards, what I got was it seems like there's going to be some kind of weapon used in the ocean. And this is basically going to affect the sea life. However, it's not going to be like the worst thing ever. They're going to be okay in the end. But I think what I also got is people are going to be standing up, fighting over it, saying, you can't do this. And the government's going to be like, oh yeah, we done messed up. But all the people fighting for the sea life and standing up against what happened is going to bring in some balance and prevent this from happening again in the future. Right. So that's a positive thing to come from it. I saw an aurora borealis that's going to appear right before sunrise. And it's one of those things where it's going to be very visible when it's not supposed to be. And when I was shuffling, 3 cards fell out one at a time. And it was all positive. And when I asked for more information, I got all super positive cards. So I took it as a sign that if this happens, if we see an early morning, like a morning aurora borealis, when we really shouldn't be able to see it, that's going to be a symbol. Things are changing for the better. It's almost one of those like signs where it's like, okay, things are getting better now.
Yes, keep going.
All right, I'll wrap up.
Hit it, baby.
And then a rainbow dragon came to me at the end, and she was very loving and affectionate, and she showed us the dragons are protecting us. So I saw protective bubbles with these little white sparkling lights like falling down like rain, and the bubbles were soaking it up. There was so much love energy. So the dragons, they're here, they're working with us, they're protecting us. So the last thing I did was I consulted my I consulted my Karen Rontowski yes or no tarot deck because I love it. And everyone should get this deck because it's amazing.
Thank you. I should have them. They're still out on order, but they should be on my website soon. Thank you.
Yes. So I asked, is 2025 going to be better than 2024? And the card I got said, maybe. Go smoke some meth and see how you feel.
That's some good advice always, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Monique, tell everyone where to find your, I usually send so many people looking for past life regression. Tell us all the things you do and where to find you.
So I am a certified hypnotherapist and stress management consultant. So you can go to my website, innerstandingshypnosis.com, and you can schedule a free 20-minute consult. I also offer the self-guided digital downloads so you can try different hypnosis sessions at home. And you can schedule a consult with me if you want a one-on-one. I do past life regression. I do a lot of stuff.
I also sell organite and candles and incense. So go to my website,
organite.
tarotbymonique.com. You can get a tarot reading there as well if you want to check any of that out. And lastly, you can hear me on the Homewrecker podcast with my husband, Alex, and we're the homewreckerpodcast.com.
And my phone's going to ring in with the next one in a second, but my dragon is out on my front, and I noticed how the guy shuffled around it like he wasn't even going to pick it up and brush it off. And I was like, dude, I guess it's doing its job. Thank you so much, Monique.
Thank you. I hope everyone has a great new year.
Yes. Salo Stanley is here. Not only a psychic, a wonderful story of her life, makes beautiful art. Salo, how are you today?
I am most excellent in the universe. I'm so glad to be here today.
You are always excellent. You are just a ray of sunshine. All right, honey, hit us. What do you got for 2025?
What do I got for 2025? Well, of course, in numerology, it is the 9 in numerology for the world number in the universe, which means it's completions, endings, tying up loose ends. It is about humanitarian efforts. It is about, healing our heart chakra and healing old hurts. And it is like a very important number in the universe for 2025. And the way we get that is we add up the 2, the 0, the 2 and the 5, bring it down to a single digit, and it makes the energy for the world number 9. So my prediction with that would be, I would predict that at least Ukraine and Russia will have a ceasefire near the last 4 months of 2025 coming up.
Excellent.
So that I'm going out on a limb on. You said you like things that are going to be pretty.
You're almost exactly as mine is very, very close. My prediction for Ukraine and stuff is very close. Yeah, keep going, Salo. I love it.
Oh, I love it and everything. And of course, as everybody knows, and you're psychic and a lot of psychics there, it is in the collective consciousness. It is like a nexus point that's happening. If you like it or not, is of course the more contact with the ETs from 2025 to 2030. And the stars in the sky reflect this by Saturn being in Neptune during that time. And so we're going to have pretty slow contact a little bit. In fact, we kind of had some really cool things happen in England and Manchester with a blue orb UFO that landed at the airport. And so that was kind of interesting to see on TikTok. And so I love perusing, Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, because then you can see trends as a psychic and kind of put the loose ends together. With CERN developing the Higgs-Boson photons and molecules and everything, it's created wormholes since 2012 at the end of the Mayan calendar. And with that, it's allowed the ETs to come in a little bit more. We're going from, the sense of thinking that we're the only ones here, of course, to this oneness consciousness in the universe. And we're here to say, hey, it's time to grow up. We have missions to Mars and the moon, and now the ETs see the satellites that are going out, and so attracted a lot of attention. And so now more people are waking up with the solar flares and all the light on the planet. We're becoming Homo luminous to Homo Galacticus, so being part of the Galactic Federation over the next 30 years. But this is a nexus point of 2025 with ET contact, with first just the ships in the sky. Is this a hologram? Is this real? What is going on? Using your intuition is your spidey sense. It is your superpower to have discernment, to know if this feels real or right to you. And with that, as you raise your consciousness, you're going to raise it into that 5D consciousness. It's not a place, it is a state of consciousness that we're all heading for in 2025. We're going to see that, happening so quickly in the sky. And I just really kind of excited about that happening. We're also going to be having some things with AI, of course, and I'm sure a lot of other psychics know that, and it's a no-brainer. However, I think what's going to come up in 2025 with AI is probably a new word called data responsibility is one word that I've been dreaming about lately.
Wow.
And with that means, we have all this AI and it's great, but there's a lot of compromise with some of the data for the genetic ancestry, and there's been some problems with some of those websites, they're starting to realize the CEOs going, hey, we have to be in integrity. Where is this information going? Where is this data going from? So there's going to be a whole new industry starting up with data responsibility, finding out as a gatekeeper how far this information goes out. And there's going to be more contracts on the internet with that before you get your data so it doesn't get breached. And so they're going to have more security with that. And I think through AI also, people using the search engines, finding new inventions, becoming self-empowered through running their own business, being entrepreneur, what it's going to do is make a equal playing field for the corporations and the average person down here on planet Earth. In fact, what it's going to do even more is with this AI, everybody catching up to the corporations, it's going to be the disempowerment this year of the major corporations coming to light.
I love that.
So I was so excited to hear that from my guides and angels. And that goes with the new contact of the ETs, new technologies coming up. And of course, last time we talked about the med beds and stuff and light therapy, becoming more prominent, and the awakening of the truth that, we're all one. And so with the Saturn and Neptune, Saturn is the planet of the father figure and grounded. And these are the realities that you can really create in life. It's really, really very grounded energy, but it's going to be in Neptune, like we talked about. Neptune is, Hollywood and the film industry and dreaminess and contact with ETs. And so the major dates that I had written down here for that, let me just look in my notes, for Saturn Neptune to look out for this ET contact and the changing of our consciousness that we're going to be having is in March of 2025, July of 2025, February of 2026. That's where we're going to have a major conjunction where we can probably see increase in UFO encounters. And who knows if there's going to be a major event in 2026-27 with these. And with that, that would scare the bejeebers out of a lot of people that's not really into this. However, if we get introduced to some ETs, let's say for the Pleiadians, because they look very closely look like us humans, the only thing difference is their earlobes are a little bit longer, and of course they're quite taller. They have more of a Nordic appearance, but they are close to human beings, so it doesn't become too much of a shock. And then I really feel that then there'll be some introductions over the next 4 or 5 years with the hybrids, and then maybe some that have a little bit of different appearance, because when we get shocked like that, our reptile brain goes into fight or flight, and even though you think you're ready for something like that, that's why meditation and getting that light in your body and being really calm about it and having that discernment chip. That discernment chip is so important. The other thing is the healthcare industry is changing with that nexus point that I saw recently in the news with the healthcare CEO who got assassinated. This is going to be brought to light about how our healthcare system is changing, and we need to have change because it's making people mad. And so I think it was going to happen no matter what with that incident. It's a major marker point in time for 2025 to see this revolution change for us.
Thank God.
There's going to, yes, quite a bit. And I think that's so important. And also we're going to have destabilization of some countries. There might be some threats from different countries, like war and being upset and the taxation and the tariff tax and things like that. But it's a 9-year. So my guides say, hey, it won't fly. It's like, you're going to see that. And even though we feel like we're going to head towards World War III, it's our consciousness that's really changing this new reality, that even if they have threats of that during next year, it still won't fly, because I started this broadcast with the number 9. It means completions and endings. Anything you try to start new in a 9-year ain't going to fly. And so it is like bringing this chaos into order, and more people are spiritually waking up from going to the chaos into harmony. And that's where we're looking for. We're becoming that homo luminous, bringing in that light and that wisdom, and watch us do our spiritual superpowers coming up between the next, 2025 to 2030.
That was wonderful. And also, everyone remember, new alien life forms means the dating pool expanded.
Yeah, I can see us, with that on our, with their pictures and saying, I'm from Sirius. I really like whales and dolphins. I hope you do too.
Hey, plus, Sallow, tell everyone where to follow you, where to find your wares, where to get a reading.
Well, if you want to get a reading with me, just Google solostanleypsychic.com. That's my website. We do an hour reading over your astrology, your numerology, your past lifetimes, and any questions at the end, I will channel that energy for you. You will not be disappointed. If you would like any of my Oregon art that wards off those 5G negative vibes coming from cell towers, just Google Galactic Light Art, Salo, and my website will come up off the Etsy store for you guys. And if you want to email me, it's just with any question in the universe, I'm here for you. salostanley@gmail.com.
Thank you, Salo.
You're most welcome, my friend.
Tracy St. Croix. What a beautiful name.
Thank you.
I can't
Hi,
say it.
Karen.
Hi, honey. I can't say it without singing. All right, darling. First time. Let's knock this out of the park. I am starting the timer. What do you have for 2025?
Okay, y'all, if I had to give some theme music and some tips for 2025, you better buckle up, Buttercup, and get a good chiropractor and massage therapist, because there's gonna be a lot of head turning moments. And this doesn't mean that they're all bad.
Right.
Okay? I want to preface at that. Let's not set the shit on fire if we don't have to, okay? So we're talking about ecology first for the environment, and that is going to be huge arguments with developers. You're going to see massive, massive changes in what they can develop and repurposing of what we have. That's going to be the push. And I actually got the most interesting vision of floating UFOs in the ocean, possibly mistaken for subs or ships, which I was personally excited about, right? I mean, come on, bring it on. For politics, uprisings all over the world are going to continue because people are fed up and they are turning up to be a part of the process. And we are going to see continued pushback by that. And for U.S. politics, for my people here in the U.S., like I said, get a massage therapist, a good chiropractor, because we have some head turners this year. And what my guides were saying to me is what you see won't be what you get. Ooh. So we will have to keep our curiousness and see exactly how that turns out. But the theme is securing democracy everywhere. Long term, we're going to have a one world government where we have to rely on each other, right? Because we will not survive without each other in there. Now, for new inventions, I see a lot of new inside at home gardening kits and setups. I feel like that is going to be a large part about what we can do in our own space this year for that. And I don't know when this is going to air, but I know that assassination of that Blue Cross Blue Shield CEO, what my guides were telling me is, unfortunately, it's probably just the beginning of we're going to see a lot more blatantly obvious, literally in your face opposition for people who are using their power to suppress people. So that January through March, put it this way, it's a game of roulette. Hold on to your hats, y'all. And I want to preface this again. This does not mean that, everything's lost. Right. You could be having a great year because even in the pandemic, people were born, people got married, people died, people broke up, people bought houses, people got great jobs. Okay. So keep this absolutely in mind. This is a year of knowing what you can and cannot change, and also getting a few people that you can really rely on to share resources, whether that's food, clothing, other things. It does. I know my introverts. Okay. I'm not asking you to go in the middle of a Taylor Swift concert. I'm just saying collect a few of your people online, even if it has to be, or in person. Know your community is going to be a really big pull this year. So I'm looking forward to the UFOs. I'm looking forward also to more orca attacks on yachts. I do believe that's going to be present in there. And Elon Musk, if you're listening, may a pod of orcas surround your yacht.
I get it. And by the way, you guys, you can look up barter websites for your area.
Yes. I mean, I think there's the for free or, whatever it is. But start to use the resources that are around you. Start to think about how people worked around the French resistance.
Mm-hmm.
How did your grandmothers and great grandmothers do things? Think about how we can repurpose that for today's needs to be helping each other. And I am excited about 2025 because, I mean, why not?
Right.
Because
we're part of the change.
That's what I got.
Yeah, we're part of the change, so we're gonna do it right. And on my predictions, I had a lot about what's already going on with how the people are done. The people are done being ruled. I almost think this kind of the for our government, this almost had to be the pendulum had to swing all the other way for us to go nope. All right, my friend, that was wonderful. Tell everyone your services that you offer and where they can find them.
Okay, you can always go to my website, TracySt.CroixMedium.com. You can find me on all the social networks, Instagram, TikTok, while it's still here. I offer one-to-one mentoring and tutoring, both on all aspects of spiritual development, or like I said, quick classes. If you just want to brush up on tarot or mediumship, I do those as well. I do all types of classes on mediumship development, intuitive development, corporate parties and events. I'm a hoot and a half at an event. I do all kinds of stuff. So
and
check me out.
You have the great TikTok account about the haunted places. Would you stay there for the night? That's so good.
Oh, yes, I do. Have you been here? Would you stay here? I have some more of those coming as long as TikTok is still breathing.
Yeah.
I will be on there.
And also my TikTok is very is my big one of all of them. And also I think I'm not positive on this, but if you get a TikTok account now, even if you don't use it, because I believe last time they said if they outlaw it, it will not be that it goes away. It will be that you can't get a new account. So set one up and forget about it.
Yeah, set one up and forget about it. And you guys, we got a long road. I mean, look what happened to Twitter. I mean, it crashed and it burned and now there's blue sky. Mm-hmm. So even if Twitter, like something else will come up. This is not,
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's had been in the works for quite some time as well. But y'all have give me a call, get a New Year's reading with me. Let me see how I can help guide you through 2025 with ease and grace.
There you go. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Karen. Have a fabulous day. Bye, y'all.
New to the podcast, my new friend, Judy Dingler. Did I say the right? Dingler, right?
Yes, you did.
I did good because she knows she's in my phone as New Jersey Medium. And she is going to have a new Patreon soon, folks. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
But right now, Judy, hit me. What do you see for 2025?
So 2025, it's all about coming together. I have pulled so many cards, angel cards, tarot cards, creating herself cards, Osho Zen, and it simply intuitively, I get 2025 going into it. It's all about, we all know this, transition, change, everything's coming up, and a lot of things are coming to the surface. So many things are coming to the surface that sometimes our minds are so blown that we just don't know what to do with ourselves and we question everything. But in that questioning, one of the things that has come up for me is, it's about finding the balance. We have to find the balance with each other and with everything around us. So many things are off balance right now. And the beautiful thing is that, we all know that when things are out of balance or off kilter, that it always comes back. But how it comes back is by some sort of, soul searching, going deep into ourselves and checking things out. And that is one of the things that kept coming up for me, was about that soul searching, that digging deeper, connecting not only with ourselves, but kind of stepping back a little bit from a situation and reevaluating it. One of the things that I was writing down earlier was, we kind of have to see the world right now, the United States in particularly, as feuding families, right? We have arguments within our families. And, we all kind of have to take a step back for a minute and then come back together. And sometimes that means that we have to understand things that we may not have understood before. So, and that is a common theme throughout all of the cards that I had picked. Archangel Michael, very, very strong energy around us right now, protecting us, helping us, guiding us, getting us into the next phase of life. And when that next phase comes in, it seems like around June, July, there's this big shift. And the shift that happens then, to me, what I saw was a lot of celebrating, a lot of things and clarity that people are getting. And I know you're going to say, oh my goodness, it's going to take till like June or July. Really?
Mhm.
Well, again, we have all this stuff that's got to bubble up to the surface. Once it bubbles up to the surface, then we have to sort our way through the stuff. So I really feel like there's a calming of energies in and around that June, July time frame. And everybody has that capacity. We have to create within ourselves what we want to see out in the world. And that's really big for us. We have to focus inward and put out whatever it is, and we have to shine our light. I mean, I'm a healer, that's my gift. That's my thing. I'm a healer. I'm a reader. I'm a medium. And, but healing for me comes through all aspects of everything that I do. So when I look out in the world today, I see a lot of beauty. Where a lot see darkness. And I encourage people to do that, to bring up that light. Sometimes, we talk about the, we want to be that reflection in that mirror. Whatever we put out, we want to get back. We're putting out shit, we're going to get shit back. And that's something that we really need to start to pay attention to. And if we want things to get better, we got to start putting out better, right?
Yeah.
Social media, TV, all that stuff. Step back from it. Go out, get involved with people. See that people really aren't as bad as we'd like to think that they are, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a hard concept, but it's all, sometimes people say, oh, it's too much love and light and all this stuff. You got to be realistic. Well, in my reality, I want to raise up the energy and vibration, right? In my reality.
And like attracts like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's been a huge thing for me, is sharing that and saying that, and again, I often take a step back and go, all right, where are we? How can I help this? How can I fix this and change this? And that's one of the biggest things that I have seen coming up, is all of the change within the people of the world, and that we begin to, see things better. In my head, it's so funny. I'm here, and we don't have to all be all kumbaya and all that stuff.
Right.
But we need to raise that energy, that vibration, at least a little bit, to bring it up. And it takes a lot of courage. It's not something that's easy. And it takes us, again, looking into ourselves, looking into that energy and saying, okay, where is it that I want to be? And I want to raise up this energy and vibration. And as far as the world goes, we're always going to have conflict. You can't have positive without negative. It's inevitable, right? So we're always going to have conflict. We're always going to have issues and things going on in the world, just as we do in our own families. Like I've talked about families right before. So just raise up that energy, be that, be who you want to be in the world, have the vision of, what it is that you want out there, and
Yeah. And don't be afraid.
and not to be afraid. And that's the other thing. A lot of times people are just simply afraid. It's I'm happy, so well, you're not happy. Okay, so let me lower my vibe to match yours, and that just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Excellent.
It doesn't work.
Excellent. All right, my friend, that was fantastic. And I want to ask you, tell my people, you do teach mediumship classes, right?
Yes, I do. I teach mediumship classes and I teach psychic development classes. I have a website. It's yourguidetoserenity.com. And just recently had that all upgraded and fixed. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, not too interactive on, but yeah, yourguidetoserenity.com. I teach, and I love teaching. I love sharing the energy of, spirit and what's out there. And I especially love connecting people with their loved ones who are crossed over.
Yeah, that's something I think a lot of people are interested in. So go check out Judy's class. All right. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Shanna from Black Bits is here. Shanna, how are you?
Hi, Karen. I'm so happy to be doing this again.
And your art career is rocking, as it should be. Everybody needs to follow you on TikTok and Instagram and see what you're doing, because it is amazing. And you have like major shows, don't you?
I did. I had 2 major shows this past year. It was pretty amazing. And I'm gearing up for the next best great thing next week. Or next week? No, next year.
Next year. Absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
honey. Tell us, what do you got for 2025?
Woo, 2025 is a lot. The first thing I want to say is the way that the information came in was it like kept trickling in. Every time I sort of looked, it was like, here's some more, here's some more, here's some more. So I want that to be my first prediction of the sort of general tone is like something big happens, a dysregulation, then we kind of get a moment that things kind of settle down. We get a chance to like ground in, switch everything up, and then we're back into another thing. So buckle up for the ride.
Okay. That's it. I think I've heard that 5 times, and it's correct.
Yes. I'm going to start with, I guess I'm going to go in the order that things came in.
Okay.
And they're a little bit all over the place. So here we go. The first thing I saw when I tapped in was China moving into Russia from east to west and moving north.
Oh, man. Okay, that's interesting. All right, keep going.
Yes, I saw a lot of red, which is a lot of conflict to me. It's maybe politically driven. Perhaps something that's going on with South Korea is sort of mixed up in that. My geography is not great, but that's the first sort of thing. As I'm kind of looking over globally, the next thing I saw was fires in the UK, especially further south.
Okay.
So yeah. And fires do come up a couple different times. I mean, the weather pattern is getting crazy, so there's a lot connected to that.
I have to add this. So weird. I do not know why. I bought every member of my family a fire blanket for Christmas.
Okay.
So I guess it's here. Okay.
Yeah. Good awareness. Yeah. As long as we're on the fire thing, let me kind of look. There was one other, what was the other fire? Okay. Looking at October of next year, something environmental. I saw it sort of almost like as a cap or like a mushroom cloud sort of thing, but like fires, pollution, major dysregulation in October of next year. So that's something you can kind of note as a timeline. Moving back to the randomness that things came through, plant medicine and some sort of discovery in Antarctica. Do they have plants up there? I have no freaking idea.
I think they have the frozen, like I think that's where they find stuff in the ice that they drill down the holes and then they find, oh, this happened, or they could absolutely find something in the ice. That's supposed to be a big alien hub too. Anyways.
Okay. Yeah. And like the way it was like fuzzy yellow. I also got that they're trying to study whatever it was, but whatever it was is discovered. people definitely want to stop it. Like they want to end it. So if it's like a pharmaceutical thing, who knows? Something else kind of happening up there. Moving right along. We have the idea, and you and I have talked about this, Karen, privately, is fake clouds. I saw them having like a nozzle on them. So maybe we can buy them for gardening or something with the clouds. Clouds keep coming up. Whatever I saw is definitely poisonous to my cats. Wow. So I would assume animals, but maybe something that can happen, like some sort of discovery or thing put on the market for gardening. And it's, here's this thing that you can control the weather sort of like more on a smaller scale level. So that was interesting. More cloud. Yeah. I wrote down more cloud stuff, lots of cloud stuff. So pay attention to the clouds, y'all. What are you seeing? I feel like when I'm driving around, I'm literally like looking in the sky and I'm suspicious of every weird one. And yeah, I think that that's going to be another big theme.
Yeah, I've had some weird cloud issues, and then the whatchamacallit, the chemtrails, unbelievable.
Yeah. I think it's going to get real weird in the sky. Slash, it already is. Okay, another one. Drilling in Australia. Is there a particle collider there too? So I'm familiar, and I know a lot of us are familiar with CERN and what they're doing there. But there's something, it looks like they were just like drilling or doing sort of the same thing in Australia, another part of the world. I don't know if there's already something like that happening, but again, my concern with these things is, yes, they're very scientific and it's blah, 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 everything that it is. But what are the intentions that are being held? Is anyone holding the intention of we're doing this in a loving way to advance our relationship to the earth? Is anyone considering that when they're doing this drilling? So that's sort of, pay attention to Australia.
Yeah, they don't take a lot of crap there either.
Yeah, it's I don't know, other than that's just what they showed me.
Yeah.
Following up to what happened this past weekend with United CEO, I wonder if there will be, and this is what they showed me, is a shooting happening of three, happening all at the same time. 3 people simultaneously happening in New York, Texas, and California. Like all at once, something staged, something very much planned. And this is where it kind of sort of ties into what sort of started coming in today, was this idea of like chess pieces. Like, how are people being used? How are we being used? How are we sort of like working together and sort of seeing this overall picture? I will say a couple celebrity names that jumped out. One of them was Katie Holmes, and something about a fire. These things in a little bit strangely. And then I want us to also pay attention to Nick Cave, the singer, the performer, the musician. Again, don't know much about him, but that's the name that came out. And we're going to go back into the politics and look at February for Biden. Where is he at? I think we might find something out about him health-wise. Yeah. I don't know how much longer he will be here. It almost looks like his energy is kind of like giving up, like this country sort of drained the life out of him. Yeah, so look for that by February.
Wow.
And staying in politics, Kamala, I wonder if, I don't know if she's from California. That might be true. I have no idea.
She is.
Okay. So I don't know if she's already living there, moving back there. It looked like she was like opening up like law offices again, and maybe like a lawsuit against her or something that she's like highly involved with. But something back in California that's like pulling her back. It almost looks like a different direction. I know that we have already seen sort of like a 2028 Kamala, and I don't know. This just looked very contradictory to that. Yeah, so let's sort of see where she goes with that.
Yeah, I think Gavin Newsom is going to step up. So that's all California people.
Okay. Yeah, and even just kind of watching with the politics, I do think that what I'm seeing and what I'm predicting is that Trump's going to get in there and start doing his thing, and there's going to be sort of like this of all sides of like, oh, well, maybe this is going to be good, and maybe this is going to be, maybe this is going to bring us all together. There's going to be this moment where we collectively kind of like, I never thought I would think that about him. And we all sort of start to like settle in of like, wow, this is we didn't think it was going to be this way. We didn't think there was going to be, support for everyone. And we all come together in some way. And that's sort of where it's going to like, almost like hook us. And then it's just going to get batshit.
Oh, well,
So
for a minute I was hopeful, and then I was like, it doesn't, right. It doesn't, I can't see him as the hero, but I would love that minute. I think the first part of the year, the economy's going to boom and then it's going to drop.
Yeah. Yeah. And another date that I saw was October. Wait, let me make sure that I'm getting this date right. May is a big month. Hold on. Let me just look at my notes here. Oh, June and July, pay attention to your finances. Pay really close attention. That might be the point where things start to sort of, well, it probably will start to shift maybe more September, October, but start to really like
save,
pay attention. Just watch where things are, because I think things are going to start to shift right after that. And that's where we're going to be like, oh, yeah, no, this is not what we thought it was going to be, or thought it might potentially be. And again, it's going to go with that overall thing of like, oh, here we go, we're doing good. And then we dip back down. We're just like, oh, shit, what the fuck's happening? Like, what is going on? And this whole time, there does just seem to be this undercurrent of what they showed me as snakes. Snakes to me is control.
Oh, yeah. And it's the year of the snake.
Oh, well, that's okay.
There you go.
We're ready. Yeah. So this just undercurrent of snakes. Let me see. Who thinks they are in control? Yeah. Who thinks they are in control? And some of this kind of stops. There's just like these sort of moments that you think something and then it totally ends up turning into and being something else. So kind of like shapeshiftery sort of energy. Mm-hmm. So just watch what you're putting your intention on, because I think what I'm seeing is just these very specific moments where you're just thinking one thing, seeing it as one thing, and then it's totally kind of shifts. And
yeah. Excellent, my friend. All right, Shannon. So tell everyone where they can find you, and your services and everything.
Yes. So I'm a 6-foot glamazon artist, teacher, and clairvoyant. You can find me on socials under my business name, which is Black Boots. I spell it without any vowels, BLCKBTS. And on TikTok, I am Black Boots Awake, BLCKBTS Awake. And I have a podcast.
Yes, a good podcast.
Which is in its stages, but it's totally ramping up. And that's energy.weaver. And it's on all the platforms.
Thank you, Shanna.
Thank you, Karen.
All right. Here we go. Jessa Reed. Jessa, I don't think you've been on my podcast in like 100 years. How are you?
I'm really good. Not to freak anybody out, but the last time I did a prediction episode was in 2019, doing a prediction on 2020. So hopefully that's not an omen.
Don't worry, nobody holds anything to it. And I'm just going to add this in. Timelines are shifting so fast. I originally taped my last one, and I was like, before this started, and I was like, I think Syria is going to get overthrown, and then I had to scrap it because Syria got overthrown, and it's like you can't give the news of what just happened. All right, hit us. What do you think for 2025?
All right, so less, because it's me, less like physical, this is exactly what's going to happen, but these are the energies that I think are hitting the planet and ways I think they may manifest.
Okay.
As anyone who has been stuck listening to me for the last couple of years knows, I'm thinking a lot about the shift from the cross of planning to the cross of sleeping phoenix, which is something from human design. We live in these like 400-year ages, cycles, and we are ending a 400-year cycle, or as the aliens would have called it, video game. And the constructs of the previous video game were basically what we would call late stage capitalism, or the log line I've been using is sacrifice the individual to build infrastructure. And so we've had this kind of top down hierarchical thing that's based on work and the nuclear family. All of those constructs are going out the window in a couple of years fully. They've been going away for a while.
Good.
But the real opening ceremony to this is starting with the astrology of first Pluto going into Aquarius. 10 days after Pluto went into Aquarius, we got the CEO thing. And then I think it's going to get real wild once Neptune goes into Aries sometime this spring. I'm not good with dates. And then Uranus goes into Gemini in the summer. So what I think is coming is a complete collective consciousness shift away from the idea of systems and towards personal empowerment. I think people who have been trapped looking at the problem and kind of drowning in empathy while feeling powerless are going to start to feel very empowered to start new things. People are going to be less focused on what's broken and more focused on creating something new. I think we could possibly get some sort of new social media app or something with that Uranus and Gemini.
Good.
I think that we have, I believe in the background frequencies and the energies of the video game give power to wherever, the game wants to see power at. And I think we think that these structures have a lot of power because the video game has been favoring them. And that literally takes a crazy left turn in the next 12 months. I think 2025 is going to hold my beer to 2024, which says a lot because it's been kind of a wild year.
Yeah.
I think reality will continue to get more cartoonish and dreamlike, less linear, more kind of all over the place. And this will be the beginning. 2025 and 2026 we'll get a taste of what's to come. Reality is about to become about personal empowerment, artistic, authentic expression, and everyone being very different than everyone else. And so we'll start to break up a lot of these tribalistic, painting things with a broad brush, everyone belonging to something. And then I think we'll start to see, maybe not 2025, but this is the beginning of starting to see what community looks like when a community is built around respecting like individuals being individuals. So on the world stage, extremely chaotic, but I think we are seeing the way that there's all these UFOs and drones and shit and kind of nobody gives a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship to the world stage is going to change drastically, I think, as well. I think there will be so much crazy stuff happening and no one's going to care. The propaganda machine, I think, will, if not come to a grinding halt, will really overplay its hand in 2025, and that will kind of be the end of that. We're going to see a massive divestment from everything that has ever been in control in our lifetimes.
Good. I am so looking forward to that. It's funny. One of my friends here that's on the podcast, Salo, said something brilliant, which she said, remember, everybody gets a vote in the universe and where we're going, and all we need is 51%. I love that because I don't feel like people are waking up as fast as they should, but I think we could get 51%.
Oh, I think we are at, and I think I'm privileged to live in the bubble that I live in, but there's a massive amount of awakened people. I do think one thing that is going to shift is that we are coming out of a game where everyone was in the same game in a way that's like historically not, like we've lived in a global reality here for a minute, and that has not been good, for many, many people. I think we'll be breaking off into smaller groups, and kind of that idea of having to get everyone on the same page, we will realize, is kind of the propaganda of this last age. So I do think we've hit a critical mass of conscious people. Good. And we'll start to see that change the matrix. I mean, I feel like I see it every day. But yeah, we will not be playing the same video game. And I think that when Uranus hits Gemini, we will find a way to communicate, like, let's agree to disagree. And in a way that's like, live and let live. Where we have been so indoctrinated into, you have to get everyone on the same page, which is like, like colonizer shit, right?
Right.
Is like proselytizing, coming and shoving your religion down other people's throats. And that's all part of the control system. And so we're actually just like, okay, well, now we have to get everybody into witchcraft. It's like, no, let people live their lives. You live your life. And let's get rid of this idea of getting everyone on the same page. Let's learn how to take care of each other without all having to share the exact same belief system, because that's not how consciousness works.
And the I'm right and you're wrong. And even listening to experts now, there's a tone of voice that I can't take. I don't know what it is, but there's a different, like, even when I know this person knows what they're talking about, if it's done like I know everything and this is it, I can't listen anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's very cross-up planning. That's like centralization. And yeah, we're moving into I don't know. Yeah, sure, maybe. I don't know. It's like kind of what we've been calling it. Like, I have no idea. This is fun. And it's a lot less. We're coming out of something like scientific materialism, and we're moving into what I'm calling like material consciousness. And so you get to be in the material realm, but it's like consciousness based. And when you really understand consciousness, you understand that you and I are not supposed to hold the exact same perspective, because the whole point of the source, God, whatever the fuck you want to call it, splitting itself into a million pieces is to get to look at its different perspectives. The idea that we need to homogenize those perspectives is, incorrect, and mostly some shit we picked up because we were indoctrinated and kind of, into this last age. So this can be very fun and exhilarating. Life will be chaotic and constantly changing for the rest of the time that anyone listening to this is on Earth. And I think probably everyone listening to this podcast has already done the work to be able to enjoy that.
I feel like the tail end of it is sneaking up right now. Like it's really coming on like strong. Like, I hate to think there's a deadline where we can't learn anymore, but I feel like they're like, these got to go first. Another thing to sort of people that watch the news, I'm sure, do not know this unless they watch Al Jazeera or something like that. The German government has collapsed and the French government has collapsed. So all new voting, if anybody saw this, the country of Georgia, where they pushed back the police with fireworks. So I guess you don't need a gun. And literally the people were laughing and it was great. And then South Korea, the guy declared martial law, and the people came out on the streets and it was over in an hour, and they were grabbing the guns of the military by the point and going, aren't you embarrassed? So the world is changing fast.
So that is so like Pluto in Capricorn, where we've been since 2008. It was revealing the corruption of the systems, but it was Pluto as power, so it was giving them power. So they had the wind at their sails to do whatever the fuck they want. What has happened now is Pluto has moved it into the hands of Aquarius, which is, humanity, decentralization. Aquarius is very innovative, but it does not like to be intruded upon. It wants equality, but not like a system decided what's equal. Rather, like everyone has freedom and power within themselves. And so that's why you see that sudden shift, because we are literally just, I believe in free will. You get to make choices in it, but we are somewhat possessed by these energies, right? So that sort of shit is going to happen all over the place. And I think the world that we're going to be living in 5 years will be fully unrecognizable for now. Think like end of nation states, end of the concept of federal government, end of systems. Truly, the last 400 years were about systems. Those are not a part of the human experience. Those are a part of the game we were playing. And something very decentralized and small, local. And you also see a massive migration over the next few years. Some forced because of natural disaster. I think there'll be a lot more natural disaster stuff. But people will go find their people and they'll start to build community that's based on something other than this like hierarchical structure. And you see these, I think these things will collapse pretty fast. So, and we're already seeing it like that fast. You realize that the big bad rich whatever are actually just the Wizard of Oz, you know?
Yeah, I hope that's coming. I mean, I feel like everybody got it but us so far, but here we go.
I mean, the fact that and I don't know anything about politics in other parts of the world, but like the fact that they were like martial law and then people said no.
Yes. Yeah. It's in fact the funniest guy on TikTok one guy goes, it's martial law. And then the other guy goes, nope. And then the first guy goes, okay. And then someone goes, what the fuck just happened? It was literally an hour that they overthrew this guy. It was amazing.
Because the power has never been real, but this is, you know me personally. So I'm always ranting about this sort of stuff. And I have an Aquarius, Mars, and Mercury. Like their power is not real. It's us believing the power. So your option when the government or corporations goes, we're going to put martial law into effect. You see so many people are so stoked to play that victim character where they're like, oh my God, they're taking our rights, But autonomous people are like, I'll just do whatever I want anyway. You can't tell me what to do. And so what's happening is there's a massive influx of people realizing like, I don't want to play victim to this. I don't want to engage in victim, villain, savior games with you. No. And if enough of us say no, then like, no. And so it's just the people in their power is really what this is going to be about. Personal empowerment and then building communities based on like decentralization and not rules. Capricorn loves rules. Aquarius likes autonomy.
Yes. And one weird thing, like I'm not a healer person. I did the Reiki, but I am so drawn to holistic, metaphysical, what they would call pseudoscience healing things like iridology right now. I think that is going to be part of what we're looking at in those smaller societies.
100%. And tech-based healing stuff. So, me and you were both into the red light therapy. I just got a light that like flickers in your periphery. So to help your cognitive health. I'll let you know how that works. So we'll see a lot of like technology to help us heal our bodies. It'll be like natural, but also tech is going to be a part of it. But not centralized.
Right.
And that's the part I'm really excited for. And you see this decentralization everywhere, right?
Yeah. Someone has to make that machine that Tesla made out of crystals that people sat in and their cancer went away. Someone's got to make that. The blueprints are out there. Someone make it.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that's what the drones are looking for.
That's a whole nother, I don't know, that might be over. I won't even ask about that because we don't know. That's good. It could be a whole different game by the time this comes out on the 27th, but I'm not nervous. Right. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny, but there is a way I feel like it's a threat to be like, this is what 24-hour surveillance is like. And people are like, let's shoot them down. Let's shoot them down.
I'm so stoked for 2025, to be honest. Okay. This is going to be an absolute chaos ride, but I love it.
Okay, well, hopefully I won't be in Utica then. But if not, I'll be reporting from New York's Siberian side. All right, awesome. I mean, everybody knows where to find Jessa. Just Patreon. Podcasts are out now. You call it so we can get it out there.
Oh, I got a podcast called Projector and the Flail.
And that's you and Mark.
Yep.
It's great. All right. And there's a Patreon that you can hear about there. And thank you, Jessa.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Angela Lovell is here. And
Hi.
hello. I left my bells somewhere. So, honey, tell me, what do you got for 2025?
Okay. I'm going to start with good news first, and then bad news last. I saw Tesla's driving over a cliff. Elon Musk. Yeah. Oh my God. I just read this horrible thing today. Did you know his dad is a groomer? He just had a baby with a woman who he like cared for since she was 4. Did you know this?
I did not. It doesn't surprise me, but also his mother. Well, I saw a quote. I can't verify that quote. Never mind. Well, here's another interesting thing. Do you know his brother owns a company that makes, wait for it, drones?
Oh, shocking. Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think some stuff's about to hit. I think we're going to see some instant karma hitting old Elon in this year.
Yeah, him and Trump are going to break up, and that will be.
Yeah, I think so too. I saw Tesla's going over a cliff. And don't buy a Tesla. I take electric cars whenever I take a car anywhere. And I don't like the energy in a Tesla. They're giving off a weird buzz that I don't care for. And we need to stop. Like with the Congo, what's happening? We got to get all this shit together.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they're mining for those. Okay, but it does look like it catches up with him. And it was weird. I had this vision with him where he had Edward Scissorhands and he was trimming roses.
Okay.
Not totally sure what that was. Another political figure. AOC, Alexandra
Ocasio-Cortez, yeah.
Yes, thank you. I can never do it all. She is probably breaking up with her fiance. I don't think they're going to make it to the altar. And I used to like her when she started out, but then she turned out to be just another talking head who's useless. She didn't even pay for that dress at the Met Gala for like a year, almost a year. She didn't pay that artist.
Yep.
Just another rich person who's like pretending to be one of us. Okay, so she's probably going to go through a breakup. More good news. Oh, well, wait. This is, what did I say? I was starting with good news. Okay. I'm like, I guess it depends on which side of capitalism you're on for the good news. I saw weird stuff getting sent in the mail again, like to powerful people.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could be bombs. It could be like the anthrax scare of yore. It could be more of that stuff. But there's something in the mail, and I saw Bert from Sesame Street. So I don't know if it's like a closeted homosexual gets targeted. Like I don't know. But there's stuff coming. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of the revolution, which is impending now.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, more good news. Our shooter. I get
Luigi.
Oh, so me. I get 3 to 5 years, and I feel like that's total. So even him being held right now, I think counts into it. So to me, I do feel like that's kind of like getting away with it. And I know a lot of people are saying that, they're zooming in on the eyebrow. That's just the camera didn't pick up a monobrow, you guys. It is him. I believe Luigi did shoot. Or I wouldn't be masturbating to him so much. Are you kidding me?
I think it's him. Him. Yeah.
Yep. And I think he is a catalyst in the best of ways. All the witches who were hexing Trump, that was a waste of time. Trump, unfortunately, is a catalyst. And honestly, I don't even care. I wrote Free Palestine in, all right? I voted for everybody except my president, and I'm not ashamed of that. They gave us no one to vote for, all right? Like, I wrote in Free Palestine. And I don't care, honestly, at this point. We don't get officials. We don't get nobody is working for us. Right?
No, you know what? We didn't get to pick her, and we may have.
Nope.
Maybe we would have picked her, but we didn't get to. So we have no control. Yeah, I'm really
we have
done.
we don't have a democracy. It's time to revolt, and it's not going to be a civil war. It's going to be a class war.
Yep.
And I can't wait. I am learning how to use a gun.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't look. If cops have guns, I want a gun. That's where I live now. It's not criminal. I don't trust it's fascism. The police serve the wealthy. Everybody is waking up. Mm-hmm. It is not Dems versus Republicans anymore. It is the wealthy elite who they serve versus those of us struggling to pay medical bills. You know, that's where we live now. So that's, I guess, the good news. Oh, okay. Now here's some bad news. I did see locusts and frogs, which is biblical. So something's turning. I think we're getting deities. Like I'm seeing more deities with people. Even just Hecate, the goddess of witches and psychics, she started coming in and getting like in front of people a couple years back. People are coming back. Jesus is around. If you're a quote good Christian, you might actually see him. If you're just one of the people spewing hate, you definitely will not. But we are getting deities. We're getting something biblical. We're going to be like, what the hell is that? Aliens. Okay. The aliens. All right. I saw horseshoe crabs.
Okay.
And my guides were like, that's not from this world. And, we're going to find, I think we might even find a spaceship in the ocean or several. And it's kind of like, will they even tell us they found those? I mean, probably they're trying to distract us with this stuff now. But then it was crazy because after I had the horseshoe crab vision, I read this thing popped up in my feed because our phones are tapped into our brains now, I guess, with the blue blood that they harvest from them. Have you seen this?
No.
It's insane. It's insane. They're extracting blue blood from the horseshoe crabs. We're like raping and pillaging everything at this point.
They just put a what was it? They just before the news today, they put a pig, not heart or something, transplanted into a woman.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I would hate to be a pig in this planet. So just get like as good as you can at not being part of the problem, being part of the solution. And we all know what that is. You know, like you don't need to be obnoxious about it. I'm praised often as like the only vegan in the room, or people always praise. I always get compliments about how I don't force it on people. I just talk to them about it. You know, there are very many ways. Don't get plastic bags. What the hell are you guys doing? Like, take your own bags. That plastic goes into your ocean. It goes into your body. You don't need plastic bags. There should be no more plastic bags.
But we're off on a tangent. We're off on a tangent.
Okay, we're off on a tangent. Okay, so another thing I saw, I did see the soil in America. I think we can still grow food in other places. Thank goodness. We've lost like nourishment in our soil. Corn got really bad. It's weird. I love popcorn. I freaking love popcorn. There's something like that rubs me the wrong way when I go to the movie theater. Like it doesn't feel like food. It feels like poison. And that was like my favorite thing in the world. I would DoorDash movie theater popcorn. Don't eat it anymore. It's not. There's something wrong with the corn. There's something wrong with our soil. America, you can eat the popcorn in France. Go over there. I think probably organic popcorn you make in your home is still okay. I don't know what it is, but they were like, I get big no on popcorn at the movie theater.
Got it.
Other bad news. Oh, well, this was interesting. Mike Tyson might be going through dementia. That whole little stunt he pulled with the fighting, that wasn't real. He didn't take that seriously. It was like he was like punking us, was what I got on it. And I saw him, he might have like a travel show or a documentary or something come out soon where he travels to someplace. But I think his brain is going away, and it could be frontal lobe damage. You know, that's really common. But it was kind of sad. I think he might do more like Andy Kaufman type stuff. here coming up. But that was like an Andy Kaufman thing. And it was crazy because nobody noticed. He just like, everybody was just like, that was cuckoo. But no, he was doing total Andy Kaufman. Okay. Oh, bummer news. Another kind of plague is coming. I think that was related to the locust frogs, actually. But I do think we're going to have to be very careful about illness. It's kind of like another COVID thing. I didn't see it very clearly, so it might still be a ways off. So,
yeah, they're trying to do something. I believe that.
Yes. I do think Elon Musk gets the weird thing in the mail too. I saw him at his mailbox, and I was like, okay, well, good. If there's so yeah, it's going to be a big year. Aliens, billionaires. Seahorses. I was seeing seahorses. Maybe that's all the men getting vasectomies, because the seahorses carry I get a vasectomy, guys. Please give it. We don't need more people. I'm sorry. Your DNA is not that precious. Consider adopting, get a bunch of cats. You're going to wish you didn't have so many kids to haul around when they're setting fire at the end of your street.
They would just leave them for the women.
They probably would.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Well, the other thing this was the advice that came through, and I saw mine. Oh God, I don't know how you're not meditating, but if you meditate or journey or astral project or any of these things, like where you conscientiously sit with your soul and try to detach it from your body, you need a launch point. And you might already know this, but your launch point has changed. There's been a shift. Like, I always see this other world that's accessible to us. And it's like stuff that like the fairies and the aliens of Earth kind of took away from us, and they keep sacred elsewhere. Because we fuck it all up, but we get to go there if we're well behaved, if we're honoring this planet, we get to go there, we get to visit. You have a launch point though, that is something in this world, and you will see it. I see it when I give readings to people. I'll tell them what it looks like. It's usually familiar to them. It might be a place you've been, but it's probably not. It's like a place that you go on the other side. Figure out your launch point, because you're going to need to pop in and out more easily in the coming year. You got to get in now. Mine changed though. Mine is a totally different. It's like a thing from my nightmares, from a recurring nightmare I'd had since childhood, but now it's beautiful. And it's like I integrated my shadow or something. And now I get to go to the scary house, but it's got flowers and stuff on it. It's a very scary house.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But figure out what yours is and get there. Lie down, put shamanic drumming on, get out of your body now and then. You have got to believe there's something better. I also think we're getting messages there. We're meeting, we're organizing there.
Great.
They're shutting down TikTok. You know why they're shutting down TikTok.
Yeah, we'll wait on that, see if it's happening.
They always say they will, because they can't control it. It's not because China's harvesting our data. Guess what? So is Instagram, Facebook. Literally everything is harvesting your data.
And Joe, and the over at the drones are.
Oh, yeah. Nothing is sacred. I mean, I thought a thing, wrote it down, and I was targeted with stuff.
Yes.
Like, it's there. We're there. There's no, if you're doing something you shouldn't do, the government will find you if they want you, if you're useful to them.
That is correct. All right, Angela, thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can go or get a reading or what's happening.
Yay. Okay. My website is angelalovell.com. I have a podcast called Dear Witchy Poo. You can send me your letters and ask your weirdest questions. I would love more weird questions. I have a psychic development course. You're all psychic. Great news. And it's on sale right now for $99.
Awesome.
And it's hours of content and really good meditations to help you align your chakras and all of it.
Awesome. All right, darling. Thank you.
My pleasure. Happy New Year.
Okay, let's tape this for the 100th time. There it was, ladies and gentlemen. I think that was 16 psychics. How about that? Do you think that was hard to organize? Yes, it was. First of all, I thank you all for your support, listening to the podcast, booking readings, coming to shows, being my friend, all that stuff. And I know you've had enough, so I am going to jump in. I am making this in segments because I taped it 3 times. And I listened to it and I was like, no, I want to go out on a limb and give you specifics. So that is what I'm trying to do. So the economy First 2 quarters will be fine. Don't worry. It's going to take a little while. I am worried the third and fourth quarter, it will tank. For weather, I kept getting 2 images. And the first one is waves, huge waves, not with hurricanes, not with anything attached to them. So I'm assuming these are tsunamis, and so there's no weather with them. They're just tsunamis. So I think the United States might actually have its first big tsunami this year. But tsunami, flood, water, that kind of thing. Also, snow in Texas, some sort of big snowstorm in Texas, some weird snowstorm in Texas. And as you don't need me to tell you, it's going to be hot. The summer's going to be hot. Weird thing with lightning. Okay. Something weird about either like the strongest lightning we've ever seen, like something like it makes it on the news type of lightning. I don't know if this is through tornadoes or what, or if this is almost like, again, this is a metaphor, but almost like lightning coming down and electricity going up. What I mean by that was if for some reason 5G towers, even though they are not, electrically, like they must be grounded or something, but almost like something like that connecting with the lightning and it being huge, like out of, like makes it to the news phenomenon. Okay. Weird lightning, tsunami. Those were the 2 big out on a limb. I think Biden's going to pass this year. I think for some reason, big health issues with George Clooney, like, yeah, I don't know why that popped up, but that's what it looked like. So I got thinking the Diddy thing gets weird, and I'm going to try and make this short because you all know the Diddy thing is somehow connected to the Epstein thing, but the Epstein thing is disappearing because who was the number 1 attendee at Epstein Island? Your president. So here are some things. This is probably going to remain middle, nothing, little bit of news. I do believe Kevin Hart might be one of the next ones that something's weird about Kevin Hart. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. He wasn't even on the list. It was kind of weird, but something about him connected to this is, I know it's there. I know it's there. The current lawyer, it stays medium. Then either that lawyer leaves or another guy comes in and goes at it with information drops so that it's not like a gossip thing, but like information is coming out and we will be able to hear from the victims. This is looking like third or fourth quarter of the year. This will suddenly get very white people. This will get suddenly very, very white. And I want very white people. We're talking about possibly, Victoria's Secrets. And, there might be a lovely girl named Paris who has a last name that might be connected to this, but it suddenly things are going to puzzle pieces like that, bridges like that will appear. This is absolutely connected to this rush to Christianity. I'm going to say fake Christianity, not real Christian. If you're a real Christian, this isn't you. You're Mark Wahlberg's. Now you're Gwen Stefani's. Now you're Russell Brand's. They are, whatever. That's the fake Christianity. Russell Brand, he's my favorite. Can't wait. Hate to wish anything bad on anyone, but can't wait to see when justice is served with him. Is 7 million people that think he's Jesus. Can't stand it. He lived at Diddy's house, or he was Diddy's roommate for like a summer. Not just went to a party, lived with him. How nice is that? This fake Christianity is either something that scares us. I said this last year. I'm extending it. Not the drones, like a real UFO, real nuclear. What do we do now? Oh, we got to go to Jesus. And look who's waiting to escort us there. All the people Gwen Stefani, Russell Brand. Watch these celebrities flipping over. Gwen Stefani just signed with Mark Wahlberg for his app, which I think you pay for, to pray with them. Wouldn't it be great? Don't you want to pray with Mark Wahlberg? Doesn't that make you feel good? And he doesn't have enough money. So yeah, that is a big smoke screen. That is a big, I've asked for forgiveness. That is not real. Just going to throw this in for people that want to date. So there has been very few people meeting people. It's just not happening. And I don't think dating apps are happening. I want you to listen to who you're supposed to be this year if you want a partner. You are supposed to be present with whoever you speak with. This isn't checking your phone. This isn't glancing at your phone. There was someone that did a story about the Marilyn Monroe effect, and Marilyn Monroe was attention on her and the situation she was in. She wasn't worried, is there something on my face? Is my hair a mess? She was attentive and present. This is how we are now going to connect with people. This is a year 9. It's the Hermit. 9s are ending things. Hermits are on their own. 3 cards for this year, the end for 2025. The Hermit, the 3 of Swords, and the World card. And the Hermit and the 3 of Swords. Don't forget about the 3 of Swords. In the 3 of Swords, up in the left-hand corner of the heart, connected to the cloud, there are 2 little loops, little lines. That is a bird. The bird is flying through the storm without a problem. The Hermit is walking at the top of the mountain of achievement, knowing where he's going. This year, you only focus on you. That is how you meet someone. Being present in the moment. Phones down, ladies, gentlemen, people. Phones down. Okay. The connection will no longer be, isn't that person cute? Or I saw this guy, or I met him, or he has good legs, or whatever. It is focus. I am present in this situation. That is where you will find love. World card, if you look at the World card, there is a piece of lace that is wrapped around the androgynous woman in the middle of the card. That lace represents DNA. Our DNA is changing. You have to know that. That's why it's going to be hard to be present like I described. We're woozy, we're this or that, we're kind of not really in our body. We can't really describe our moods. There is a lot, balance might be a little off if you're not staying in your yoga or whatever you do. All just a little off. That is because our DNA is changing. The other part of that, just as I told you all that, I got a text message and I looked away. The other part of that, the Hermit, the 3 of Swords, those are both quiet cards. The Hermit is very quiet. Snow is very quiet. This is a year to be very gentle with yourself and walk away. Okay. There is some weird energies coming to the planet. And if you're an optimist or an airy fairy, it's like, well, the light is coming, so now we can see the darkness. And Karen is not. So Karen is telling you there are some dark energies making themselves very known and very present. Don't be afraid of them. Here's what's happening. And some of you may already understand this. As we're changing and our energy is wobbly, for lack of a better word, things are jumping onto people and jumping off. So I cannot tell you how many clients are calling me with things that happen or things that they did, and they say, I wasn't myself. This is happening when, especially easily when people are drinking or having alcohol. It's something we already talked about with attachments. Watch for it now. Watch for these road rages or this whatever, or this people not being themselves. A one-off incident, a weird incident. Know that that could really be something jumping on and jumping off, which is why you need to be gentle with yourself and walk away. Protected, gentle. This doesn't serve me. I can't listen to this anymore. I don't need this. These people are energy vampires, which, by the way, you no longer can help people that aren't helping themselves. You are going to get sucked. The energy is going to get sucked out of you. You only help people who are helping themselves. You will see the patterns, you will feel your energy drain, and you will have to get out. Okay? Body parts. We really were working on the nervous system. Hopefully, I don't know if mine got fixed. I do think that SSP really helped. This year, 2 things. the inflammation of small joints, wrists, knees, ankles, things that move us. All right. Take very good care. Be very gentle with those sort of connecting tissues, those things that are keeping us moving. Whatever you want to do, turmeric, stop drinking, whatever keeps the inflammation out, because everything this year is about what keeps you connected. Lower back, not necessarily a problem, but be aware of the lower back. That is where you feel supported. And as we are moving into this independent place, independent, not lonely, independent, not alone, that is going to activate. Do I feel supported? Am I in the right spot? Few more political issues and then I'm out, because nobody did political. Women's right to choose. Not a lot of news on it. Slowly seeping away. At the end of the year, this will become a thing. Women or whomever pro-choice people will be done. This is where that starts to explode. Quietly, this court decided this court decided this. So that's going to keep going the way it's going, unfortunately. Israel looks bad. The beginning of the year looks like Israel starts with some sort of a celebration of sorts, and then it goes downhill, starting about the second quarter, downhill. And the cards for 2024 for Israel just kept getting worse. Russia, will this Ukraine-Russia fight, as you have seen it fade? It will continue to fade. It may even be announced that it's over. But Putin and now his friend from North Korea, Kim Jong-un, they will slowly be moving into Ukraine. Just not even taking it over, just slowly moving in. That's what I saw. Trump's team was just the worst cards ever. But I don't know if you're watching that. That really looks like an Adult Swim cartoon, sexual assaulters and the pick-me girls. That is going to look like a plague of just bad things, cartoonish. They're a joke as the year goes on. All right. I will be surprised how many will still be standing at the end of the year, but it's turning into a cartoon. I didn't think of any other topic. So I think that's it. Ryan will be here next week with his astrology stuff. Stay tuned. If I can get myself together, hopefully I'm not living in upstate New York, and I'm very happy. Maybe I'll have more happier predictions, but there was a lot of happy in there. So I thought I would go right for the particular stuff. And also, weird, gonna throw it in. I think somebody last year talked about weird stuff with whales. Watch for weird stuff with sea animals again. Okay, that's it. Hopefully we'll do another one of these 6 months through. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. I can't tape this again. I gotta go.
Paranormal Karen, she's a spooky kind of queen. Paranormal Karen.